Invading students' memories is such a thing. The thing about people with mental abilities shouldn't be considered an invasion of privacy, right? Yes. This is equivalent to helping students at Xavier School for Young Talents eliminate mental health problems. Chu Mu thought. Charles had also invited him to be a teacher at the school before. Although he did not agree, using the omnipotent rounding company to round up such a small thing, he could barely be regarded as a teacher at Xavier School for Young Talents. It was also his duty to help students eliminate some mental health problems. Where is? Moreover. Anyway, these little mutants at Xavier School for Young Geniuses don't have much privacy. Chu Mu will not share and publicize what he saw with others, so the student whose memory was spied on only needs to, if you don't know, you can just pretend that this incident never happened. That's it. After Chu Mu defended himself in his mind, he checked the situation about Charles and Magneto. The students in the school all knew that these two were close friends and comrades who fought side by side to eliminate the big devil. Occasionally, there are also some female students who will knock their CPS. You can't blame the female students at Xavier Academy for Young Geniuses for being too rotten. After all, there is indeed a feeling of passion between the two of them. First, they are like-minded friends, but there are differences in the concepts of humans and mutants. Magneto believes that ability is a sign of evolution, and because he was once imprisoned in a concentration camp by the Nazis, he has a psychological resistance, so he is facing some negative views of humans towards mutants. In fact, he was also influenced by the Nazis' treatment of the Jews, so he took a confrontational route and gradually developed into the idea that human beings are inferior and should be informed by mutants with ability. Professor So. He would open that academy to recruit mutant. Professor Mutant had a correct understanding of the things ability brought. Professor, the purpose is to maintain peace, but Magneto always goes against him because of his philosophy. No way. Just like what Confucius said, human beings are inherently good by nature. But acquired influence can influence a person's good or evil. Because of the concentration camp and past experiences, Magneto is not a good person. In the final analysis, he established the Mutant Brotherhood for his own ambition and hatred. Because he experienced the cruelty of World War E and mankind's crazy attack on mutant, Magneto hated mankind very much and wanted to completely end the rule of ordinary people on the Earth. Because of this, he became the biggest villain, and his relationship with Charles changed from the most tacit partner to the enemy who understood each other best. Definitely. This is just normal development. Probably because of Chu Mu's experience during World War E, Magneto's life trajectory is now completely different from normal development. He became a teacher at Charles's school, and without those ambitious plans, naturally, his relationship with Charles did not turn into an enemy. Still close friends. They are still close friends who have been together for many years. The idiom, love each other, seems to be used incorrectly. Anyway, Magneto did not become that careerist. This is indeed a good thing for the entire planet. It's also a good thing for Charles and X Academy. Although Magneto's knowledge level is not high enough, it is undeniable that he is also an excellent tutor. This is not only because he has a speech ability that is comparable to Red Skull, but also because he has the talent to help others tap their potential and help mutants break their own limits. From the original timeline, it can be seen that some mutants immediately had exponential growth in strength after being trained by him. The ability of the students taught by Magneto is much better than that of Charles. At least in terms of teaching students how to improve their strength and how to safely control their abilities, Charles's level is definitely not comparable to Magneto's. To know what he relies on is not injecting any medicine into his men, but through his own observations and discoveries, leading students step by step to discover the power hidden in the secret places of the body. Undeniable. This can definitely be regarded as a teaching ability. To know even the famous Mystique. It was also with the help of Magneto that I discovered the potential of my own abilities. The combination of his teaching ability and Charles helps students explore their potential and improve their strength, and helps students establish a good mentality and have a strong mind. This is definitely a good thing for the students of Xavier Academy for Young Geniuses. It can effectively improve the teaching quality of schools. As everyone knows, Charles's teaching ability is to a greater extent to help students have a state of mind that matches their strength, which is also crucial in controlling strength. If there is no matching state of mind without power, most people will become puppets of power in the end. Mentality and strength are complementary to each other. A good mentality and awesome strength are both indispensable. There is absolutely no problem with Charles's teaching skills in this area. Don't look at Charles's students. There are also situations where the mentality is out of control. Then you have to look at who is out of control, such as Chin. Gray's level of Phoenix Force. Even if Charles himself accepts it, he may not be able to withstand it. This rare situation cannot be used to question Charles's teaching ability. Can only say. Normal strength. Charles can teach students how to control with a matching state of mind. Definitely, because of his cautious character, he is really inferior in teaching students to tap their potential. Both of them have advantages and disadvantages. The same is true in teaching. Magneto's teaching ability in this area is lacking, which is why many of the students he teaches tend to become arrogant. But when two people are added together, the effect is not just that 1 + 1 = 2. Chu Mu observed the level of students in Xavier Academy for Young Geniuses today, and the facts proved that the level of students at Xavier Academy for Young Geniuses was indeed higher than before he traveled to World War E and changed the timeline development. Especially those mutants whose levels are not low to begin with. Iceman, Pyro, etc. Yes, Chu Mu was also a little surprised to find that the X-Man who had died due to some accidents in his timeline actually came back to life. For Pyro and some other X-Men mutants, Chu Mu is not sure why Chu Mu died in the previous timeline development. But he also knew about the loss of police officers in X Academy, and who he probably lost. After all, there was Sky at home who loved to watch the so-called evil secrets hidden by the official on the SHIELD network. Among them, naturally, there is also some investigative information about Xavier Academy for Young Geniuses. The work of the X-Men is inherently high risk. As the Marvel Universe becomes more and more dangerous, it is not incomprehensible that some X-Men sacrifice themselves in the execution of their missions. True. If the normal story development of the X-Men is followed, those soldiers will not die due to unknown reasons. The cause of their death should be different from the story Chu Mu knows. But who makes Chu Mu's almighty eye constantly change the Marvel Universe and add things from other universes to the Marvel Universe? This will inevitably change many things that should happen. Moreover, maybe it is not just the anomaly caused by the almighty eye, but also the chain reaction caused by some subtle changes cannot be ignored. Not everyone and things have the same uniqueness of time as Chu Mu. For most ordinary things, the butterfly effect is not an exaggeration. A butterfly in the Amazon rainforest flapping its wings occasionally can cause a tornado in Texas 2 weeks later. This is the butterfly effect. Although this explanation is actually a bit exaggerated, it can be regarded as an image. Changes in some small things may cause huge amounts of changes after a series of chain reactions occur. Even small changes. Not to mention that the changes in the Marvel Universe are not ordinary. The X-Men will die unexpectedly and prematurely. Speaking of which, it is indeed a very possible change. Chu Mu was also curious about what caused the death of these soldiers. He wanted to know if it was related to some changes he had brought about. Therefore, back before World War E, Chu Mu also asked Sky to pay more attention to this situation and wanted to know what caused the loss of the X-Men, but he was exiled by the Ancient One before he could get the result. Now back again. The X-Men who were supposed to be dead are actually alive again. It is no longer necessary to investigate the cause of death of these X-Men. In fact, even if you persist, you will probably run out of clues. How to say? X-Men reduces unnecessary sacrifices, which is not a bad thing. But a disgusting character like Burning Man John got a second chance to survive. I don't know if this situation is a good thing or not. I'm sure it will become a major hidden danger in X Academy, and be bribed by external forces to become an undercover traitor or something. Chu Mu didn't have a good impression of Burning Man John. This is a typical villain through and through, the kind of villain who will become even more disgusting than the princess once he gains a little bit of power. Saying that he would betray his friends and betray X Academy for profit is definitely not a groundless speculation, but that he will definitely choose to betray if there is a temptation of profit. Chu Mu doesn't like this guy. But the left and right are just ants. He hasn't jumped in front of him yet, so he doesn't have to crush him to death. If at some point, Burning Man John really comes out and disgusts him, the bomb in his head will explode. Chu Mu casually installed a magic bomb in the head of Pyro in Xavier Academy for Young Geniuses. Chu Mu's handiwork. Even Magneto and Charles couldn't see it. Can only say, when will this magic bomb explode? It can only be a matter of good luck or bad luck for Firewatcher John, and when he will make a disgusting decision. For Pyro, Chu Mu didn't pay much attention. He was still curious about Magneto's changes. Therefore, he is in the starry sky beyond the Earth. Stare at the Earth. I also found several students at Xavier Academy for Young Geniuses to read their minds. Don't even say it. There are really no students who don't like Magneto. It's no wonder students like Magneto. The improvement he brings to students is definitely the most intuitive teaching feedback. Magneto's stay at Xavier Academy for Young Geniuses will not only improve the teaching level of Xavier Academy for Young Geniuses. At the same time, it can also be regarded as increasing the strength of Xavier Academy for Young Geniuses. The two alpha-level mutants, Charles and Magneto, are gathered together. Having two leader-level mutants who can complement each other's strengths naturally brings the strength of Xavier Academy for Young Geniuses to an unprecedented level. Even the top management of the United States had to be wary of doing anything to mutant. With Magneto leading the team to perform tasks, the combat effectiveness of the X-Men is naturally different. Mutants such as Stormgirl are definitely not as good as Magneto. These are powerful performances. Naturally, he will be very popular among students. Not only that, Magneto's personality has also become much gentler, so students are very happy to communicate and learn with this powerful teacher. Compared to Charles, who is in a wheelchair, Magneto's strong demeanor is undoubtedly the most fatal attraction for young mutants. There are many students who have confessed their feelings to Magneto. Only Magneto just didn't accept it. This only intensified the discussion among students about the relationship between Magneto and Charles. Many female students thought that they might be a taboo relationship. I didn't expect that Magneto has really changed so much. Have to say, Chu Mu was also stunned by the current situation. Through the memories of students at Xavier Academy for Young Geniuses, he learned about a part of Magneto's life trajectory. After Charles and Magneto teamed up to kill Black Emperor Shao, Magneto did not leave here, but followed Charles back to X Academy to practice with concentration. Think about it. Probably because the battle between Chu Mu and the tentacle monster gave Magneto such a huge blow and shock that it directly defeated all the humiliation of this arrogant mutant. I have seen existences like Chu Mu. Naturally, it is impossible for Magneto to be the same as before, convinced that he can become the king of the world, and naturally it is impossible for him to think that mutant is the final form of life evolution. No matter how strong mutant is, can you be stronger than that man who fell from the sky? Magneto often spends his spare time looking at the clouds in the sky and thinking like this. As for why the students know this, it is naturally because the students often peek at Wansi's cloud-suppressing behavior. This mutant king will be around for a long time. He whispered softly while sighing in a daze. The melancholy in that tone. Even Charles couldn't understand it. The students even had no way of knowing who the man Magneto was talking about. They could only guess. Maybe it was another lover Magneto had met before he met Charles. Otherwise, why does it make Magneto so melancholy? After reading these situations, Chu Mu's expression became more and more exciting, and he almost couldn't help but wipe out the students who spread the rumors. God steps on horse lovers and Chu Mu really couldn't stand it. Those students at Xavier Academy for Gifted Youngsters didn't know, but as a person involved, he knew very well who the man Magneto was talking about who fell from the sky was. But isn't it just me? During World War E, Chu Mu fell from the sky like a god and demon, which must have left a big psychological shadow on Magneto. This should be regarded as the fundamental reason why Magneto did not grow into an ambitious man. Reason? No way. I have seen the power of Chu Mu. And how terrifying the monster Chu Mu was fighting. It is normal for Magneto to have a serious lack of self-confidence. Since his self-confidence is gone, he will naturally not be able to become the king of mutants who wants to rule the world. Just thinking about how bad it would be if people like Chu Mu were provoked if the commotion got too loud, could extinguish the ambition in Magneto's heart time and time again. Magneto's melancholy. I guess it's because of the frustrated lack of ambition that I dare not implement it. In this way, Magneto's emotions are actually normal. After all, a person who wants to show his ambitions finds that he is actually just a frog in the well. That kind of emotion of, how can one be wise when one is bright, will naturally make him feel uncomfortable and melancholy. However, in the eyes of the rotten girls at Xavier Academy for Gifted Youngsters, he never thought that he would become a man eating from a bowl and looking at the pot. The situation was so imaginative that Magneto was missing a man he couldn't forget. Needless to say, what is in the bowl is Charles, Magneto's good friend. It is precisely because of the good relationship between Magneto and Charles that many rotten girls at Xavier Academy for Gifted Youngsters feel that they are domineering. The teacher is crooked. There are also many male students who deeply agree with this view. The annual topic in Xavier Academy for Gifted Youngsters has only one core that has endured for so many years, and that is who is the man that teacher Magneto can't forget. Alright. Maybe Magneto really can't forget Chu Mu. But this inability to forget and the inability to forget that students understand are absolutely two different things. Magneto for Chu-Mu. It's more of a fear and feeling of the heavy pressure brought by Chu-Mu's power, which is absolutely nothing like what Xavier Academy for Gifted Youngsters imagined. This is a young man who has nothing to do when he is full. How disgusting. Chu-Mu felt speechless for the students at Xavier Academy for Gifted Youngsters. He was inexplicably criticized for forming an unclear CP with Magneto. He was definitely not in a good mood. He was already very well educated if he could resist beating these rotten girls to death. How to say? These Xavier Academy students have too little homework, Chu-Mu feels, as one of the most influential people on the planet today. He should also do some charity. Wait until tomorrow, and I will ask Sky to donate 100 sets of after-school exercises to every student in Xavier Academy for Gifted Youngsters in my name. This is not revenge. How can such a beautiful act of charity be called revenge if you use some of the money you get from society to give back to the future flowers and bones of the earth? It has to be the kind where you tear out the answers to the last few pages of the after-school exercises. Chu-Mu himself was quite touched. In order to improve the performance of the students in Xavier Academy for Gifted Youngsters, he really thought too comprehensively about the students of Xavier Academy for Gifted Youngsters. Send practice questions to students at Xavier Academy for Gifted Youngsters. This is probably a lesson taught to Xavier Academy for Gifted Youngsters. If you secretly make up rumors behind your back for the sake of gossip, fate will always give you the justice you deserve. Such a wise saying. It probably didn't come from the mouth of Mr. Lu Xuan, but probably from Zhou Shuren's famous sayings. Chu-Mu felt that as long as the students of Xavier Academy for Gifted Youngsters were busy, they would not discuss any gossip. Definitely, Magneto should be somewhat responsible for Chu-Mu's rumors. It's no wonder that Magneto has been hiding the matter in his heart. If he had said it directly, there would be rumors like, I didn't expect that Magneto would even hide it from his good friends. Actually, from the memories of the students at Xavier Academy for Gifted Youngsters, although there were no details about Magneto's side, after all, as a student, naturally he would not dare to blatantly pry into the teacher's private life, but Chu-Mu also saw him passing by when he was prying into the students' memories. Aurora the Storm Girl. Again. How can things involving people with psychic abilities be called voyeurism? Moreover, Aurora the Storm Girl is also an old acquaintance. Is it human nature to care about the life of this old acquaintance after the development of time from the memory of Aurora the Storm Girl? With this thought, Chu-Mu also peeked into the memory of Storm Girl Aurora with peace of mind. Because of this, he also learned more about Magneto. Chu-Mu also discovered a situation. That is about him, the god of World War E. Magneto has never told anyone. Even Magneto's good friend Charles doesn't know. Charles had always been curious about who Magneto was talking about, but Charles didn't think Magneto was talking about his old lover. He's just curious. What kind of thing happened? That's why the arrogant Magneto couldn't forget it so much. In Storm Girl Aurora's memory, when she followed Charles to find Magneto, she often heard Charles asking what Magneto was afraid of. Charles, although you and I seem to be very powerful, in front of the truly powerful, we are just bigger ants. The true power of this world is still far out of our reach. Over the years, I have been working hard to improve myself, and I am also looking for children with potential. But the harder I work, the more I find that there are levels that we simply cannot touch. We mutants. Are we really at the top of the food chain? Charles, do you think there is a possibility that the so-called X gene of our mutants is just a gift from some existence? Magneto never answered Charles's question directly. Facing Charles's repeated inquiries, he would always give Charles a Riddler-like response. Don't even say it. Otherwise, once people play deeply, they can always gain insight into some philosophical principles and truths of the world. Some of Magneto's accidental guesses really revealed the truth. Mutants on Earth. It is really the result of a batch of cosmic gods' experiments. There is nothing wrong with saying that X gene is a gift given to mutants by some beings. Magneto's ideological realm has been sublimated. In the face of Magneto's Riddler behavior, Charles was also very tolerant. He never forced himself to watch Magneto's memories or question Magneto. In Storm Girl Aurora's memory, Chu-Mu probably understood some of Charles's psychology, that is, Charles always knew that Magneto was not a peaceful character. And there is a mysterious and powerful existence that makes Magneto always feel heavy pressure, worry and fear, which in Charles's opinion is actually a good thing. This kind of pressure, able to limit Magneto's ambitions. It's not that Charles selfishly wants to keep Magneto by his side. The main reason is that Charles can foresee what will happen if Magneto's ambition grows. Because of this, Magneto can be afraid of something in the past. It can be considered a good thing both for X college and for the world. It has to be said that even though Charles has no memory of the previous timeline due to the change in the timeline and does not know what Magneto would have done, his foresight is indeed worthy of the title of wise man. Magneto stayed in the Xavier Academy for Young Geniuses, and indeed made some very good achievements. After all, the ability of controlling magnetic field can play a very powerful role in some scientific research inventions. With the help of Magneto, the young Xavier, the technological level of the Genius Academy has also improved a lot. X-Men equipment. It's not just a little bit more advanced than the previous timeline. Magneto's psychological shadow is also reflected in this aspect. He helped develop a lot of fire. It's not enough. Compared with what I've seen, it's not enough. Words like that. People in Xavier Academy for Young Geniuses didn't know what he was talking about, and Stormgirl Aurora was also confused, but Chu-Mu probably understood what Magneto was talking about. It must be the kind of energy bomb that Red Skull used. Magneto had seen that kind of firepower during World War E, so he would naturally be dissatisfied that X Academy could not produce weapons of the same scale decades later. How to say? Or Magneto doesn't know what the Tesseract is, or why Red Skull can possess that kind of weapon, otherwise he would definitely not be so dissatisfied with the weapons research at Xavier Academy for Young Geniuses. Definitely, in that case, the armed firepower of Xavier Academy for Young Geniuses will definitely not be as strong as it is now. It feels like this is the largest terrorist base in New York. Looking at the weapons arsenal of Xavier Young Genius Academy, Chu-Mu couldn't help but marvel at the abundant firepower of Xavier Young Genius Academy. In order to promote and assist the weapons research of Xavier Academy for Young Geniuses, Magneto's cultural level has improved a lot over the years. Definitely. The same goes for strength. Have to say. The pressure brought by Chu-Mu. While making Magneto feel the pressure, it also made Magneto become a more powerful character. Although he did not realize that he was Magneto and not the King of Iron, Magneto did not fall behind when it came to ability development. The strength is also very good now. The paranoia of being persecuted is indeed a kind of encouragement. One thing to say. Have a serious sense of urgency. This really spurred Magneto to progress, by the way. It has also increased the strength of X Academy by more than a star. Not only has Magneto's teaching ability taught many mutant students who are outstanding and can stand alone, no longer allowing mutant students to be as naive as in the original timeline, it has also made X Academy's the firepower arsenal is much more abundant. Magneto's ability. In terms of research on modern weaponry and aircraft missiles, it definitely has unique advantages. It is no exaggeration to say that the weapons and equipment of X Academy are definitely decades ahead of the United States official outside. Moreover, the weapons reserves in the firepower arsenal of X Academy are enough to win a large-scale local war. Such a reserve of firepower. Fortunately, the United States officials didn't know about it. Otherwise, Xavier School for Young Geniuses may be directly designated as the largest terrorist nest in the 21st century. In fact, even the teachers of the academy such as Stormgirl Aurora and Chin Gray, feel that the firepower of the academy is a bit too abundant, but Magneto has always maintained the attitude that the firepower is not enough. You have never seen real horror, so you don't know how prepared we should be. What we have now is not enough to protect our students, nor can we protect ourselves. Why do you think we have too many weapons? Not enough. Not enough. These are Magneto's firm criticisms. Many people in the academy know that Magneto has encountered some kind of special incident, so they can only continue to study according to Magneto's ideas. This is like Stark, who foresaw the war and suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder. Through the memory of Stormgirl Aurora, Chu-Mu became more and more curious about Magneto, so Chu-Mu turned his attention to the place where students often see Magneto in a daze. It's a coincidence. Much of the night, Magneto is really still in his old place on a rooftop at the top of the castle, in a daze. From his expression and size, it can be seen that he has fallen into a state of silence again. Every time Magneto played with Ian, the coin that was shining brightly was the coin that Chu-Mu had given to Magneto in the bar during the Civil War. Chu-Mu's original intention of giving this coin was to prevent him from destroying Magneto's original coin and causing Magneto to have no coins to use during the decisive battle with Mutant Shao. In that case, the change in the battle situation would definitely affect mutant and even mankind. History goes in another direction. The coin was given to Magneto to ensure that Magneto would carry it with him. Definitely, Chu-Mu also had some evil intentions in it. The coin given to Magneto clearly belonged to the future. This may be Magneto's free time at X Academy, and he always pinched it. The reason why I was in a daze looking at that coin. He still couldn't think clearly. Why coins will appear in the future. At the beginning. That man left it in his hands. Does the power of time travel really exist in this world? This seems to have been confirmed in recent years. Although he didn't want to believe it, Magneto also understood that the man must have traveled through time, and he didn't know if the era of that man was still in the further future. So many things have been confirmed. But I haven't seen that man yet. Hey. At the moment, Magneto's sigh on the rooftop made Chu-Mu couldn't help but pick another question. Eyebrow. Magneto. He actually said that he had not seen himself during this period of time? Among Xavier Academy for gifted youngsters, Magneto sighed. It really made Chu-Mu couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. From Magneto's self-conscious sigh, he keenly discovered something strange, that is, Magneto's memory about him was obviously not reasonable. Logically speaking, if Magneto had been staying in Xavier Academy for gifted youngsters, how could he not have recognized that the god who descended from the sky was Chu-Mu, who had been in contact with Charles? To know. Although many things in this era have changed due to some waves caused by Chu-Mu in the past, don't forget that Chu-Mu also has the uniqueness of time. This means, as long as the changes in the past are not earth-shattering changes and do not cause the emergence of some kind of paradox, then the story related to Chu-Mu during this period of the 21st century should not change. They will still, when you meet Chu-Mu, you will still have those intersections with Chu-Mu. This is why after Chu-Mu returned to this timeline, those who should appear in the Star Building are still in the Star Building without any more or less people. It was also Chu-Mu who did so many imprudent things in the past timeline, but there was little chance that he would be punished. Simply put, at this time when Chu-Mu lives, many things related to Chu-Mu will be protected in some strange way by Chu-Mu's uniqueness of time. The relationship between them and Chu-Mu will not be affected much. Some ripples of history that happened in the past will not change the tide of these things. Definitely. This does not mean that no matter how bad Chu-Mu did in the past, the future history will not be affected. This kind of protection also has an upper limit that can be exceeded. When Chu-Mu was fighting the tentacle monster, the reason why he wanted to ensure the existence of Red Skull and Magneto was because he also knew that the protection provided by the unique function of time had its limits. If Red Skull dies too early, the entire history of Hydra, and even the history of the Nazis, will undergo huge amounts of changes. Then the changes to the future will naturally be enough to break the upper limit of Chu-Mu's uniqueness of time. In the same way, if Magneto is in having died during World War E, it is naturally impossible for Chu-Mu to meet Wanda, Magneto's daughter, in the future. It is very likely that Charles's fate will also be affected. Whether it is a change in general trends or a paradox of time, the uniqueness of Chu-Mu's time cannot guarantee that the future will not be changed. All that can be guaranteed is the original existence of Chu-Mu. And other things related to time paradox will disappear. Time paradoxes usually do not appear in reality and will be forbidden by time. Assuming two or more premises that cannot be established at the same time is a common feature of all paradox problems. As far as serious physical theories are concerned, Einstein's theory of relativity points out that it is indeed possible to change time without violating known physical laws. Chu-Mu's time uniqueness, but it is impossible to break through the limitations of this paradox. Definitely, maybe a higher level identity brings similar abilities, which can give Chu-Mu the power to control paradoxes. Nowadays, there are still a few days until the next identity draw. The reason why so much information about the uniqueness of time is mentioned is that when Chu-Mu has this characteristic, Magneto has been staying in X college, and it is absolutely impossible not to know Chu-Mu. After all, Chu-Mu and Charles have no intersection with X college. Quite a few. Magneto doesn't recognize Chu-Mu. This is obviously an unreasonable little paradox. Why is it an unreasonable paradox to say that Magneto cannot recognize Chu-Mu? Because according to the law of the impact of Chu-Mu's uniqueness of time on the development of the timeline, it is necessary to ensure that things related to Chu-Mu happen normally, then a series of interactions between X Academy and Chu-Mu are bound to happen. Simply speaking, the intersection between Chu-Mu and what will happen in between will eventually lead the people and things on the timeline to the determined results. This way, although Chu-Mu has not experienced this period of history, nor has some past that he has not experienced appeared out of thin air, his existence will still affect many things. This can be a bit complicated, but you can understand it if you think about it carefully. That is to say, the ups and downs of time will rationalize many things. For example, Chu-Mu did not have an intersection with Magneto. Then the development of time will directly explain why the protagonist has an intersection with X Academy, but why Magneto did not have an intersection with Chu-Mu. Rationalization. For example, When Chu Mu in college, this situation is normal. However, this mysterious influence will certainly not specifically affect Magneto's understanding of Chu Mu. He will definitely have heard of Homelander, seen Homelander on TV, or learned about Homelander from the students at Xavier Academy for Young Talents. After all, Black Robe still used many students from Xavier Academy for gifted youngsters as actors. Moreover, Homelander is very popular all over the world. Whenever Magneto watches TV or the news, he should be able to recognize Homelander as Chu Mu, who brought a psychological shadow to him during World War E. His knowledge of Chu Mu, it will not be blocked due to time uniqueness. However, at the moment, Magneto was still thinking about which era Chu Mu came from, as if he had prosopagnosia and couldn't tell that Homelander was the original god from heaven. This is a paradox. Obviously cognition will not be affected. Before Chu Mu returns, why doesn't Magneto recognize Homelander as Chu? Magneto's situation is indeed a bit incredible. According to how much he cares about Chu Mu, shouldn't he already know that Homelander is the original god from heaven? Chu Mu didn't believe it. Magneto doesn't pay any attention to TV or the news, and he doesn't know any information about Homelander from the students at Xavier Academy for Gifted Youngsters. Although many mutant students who were supposed to be dead are now alive again, their participation in Black Robe Picket will not change under the influence of Chu Mu's unique time. Among the Xavier Academy for Young Geniuses, Chu Mu still has a lot of fans. Just by looking at it, Chu Mu can see that many girls' dormitories are covered with posters of him. With his appearance in Xavier Junior Academy being so high, there is no way Magneto can't see it like a blind man. There's something weird about Magneto. Chu Mu's eyes condensed with divine light, and then he looked at Magneto carefully. Chu Mu will definitely suspect that there is something weird in Magneto. After all, since Magneto is so obsessed with the god who came from heaven, according to normal circumstances, it is impossible to forget the appearance of Chu Mu, the god who came from heaven. Unless Magneto suffered from prosopagnosia for some reason, but judging from the memories of those students at Xavier Academy for Gifted Youngsters, who were active with Magneto and studied with Magneto, Magneto did not seem to be suffering from prosopagnosia and forcibly pretended to be he doesn't look sick. His ability to distinguish is actually very strong. Even if there are two identical twins, they can't confuse Magneto's perception even if they are deliberately pranked. It is obviously impossible to say that Magneto suffers from prosopagnosia, but other than that, the only possibility that Chu Mu can think of is that there is some problem with Magneto that is difficult to detect. Otherwise, there's no way Magneto really has a paradox in reality, right? Really. Chu Mu focused his divine power in his eyes, and the divine brilliance in his eyes, as bright as the sun, burst out with Zan Lao's majestic aura. Although Chu Mu's eyes cannot penetrate those special secrets, most secrets cannot escape his eyes. His eyes have the powerful property of destroying delusion. And it is this characteristic. Chu Mu immediately discovered something was wrong with Magneto. Cognitive impairment. Chu Mu could feel some kind of curse on Magneto. Well, there was a power that did not belong to Magneto that was always attached to Magneto's shame like a tarsal maggot. Affecting Magneto's cognition. Cognition is the intelligent processing process by which the body recognizes and acquires knowledge, involving a series of random, psychological and social behaviors such as learning, memory, language, thinking, spirit, and emotion. And cognitive impairment. In fact, it can also be said to be a cognitive impairment. Cognitive impairment refers to abnormalities in the brain's high-level intelligent processing processes, which are responsible for learning, memory and thinking judgment, resulting in learning and memory impairments. Speaking at a scientific level, the basis of cognition is the normal function of the cerebral cortex. Any factors that cause abnormal function and structure of the cerebral cortex can lead to cognitive impairment. If you have this disease, it may also be accompanied by pathological processes such as aphasia and other changes. Obviously, Magneto does not suffer from these diseases, and his cognitive impairment does not come from some kind of brain disease. In fact, some theories of science and some theories of metaphysics may sometimes lead to the same result through different approaches. The cognitive impairment that exists in Magneto is because he has a curse that affects his cognition. The kind of cognitive impairment caused by brain lesions is not much different. The only difference. Yes, Magneto's cognitive impairment has a strong directivity. And according to the analysis of Chu Mu, this curse's cognitive impairment to Chu Mu points in the direction of Chu Mu's identity. Yes, that's right. Magneto has some cognitive impairment in Chu Mu's cognition, but under the influence of a mysterious curse, although Magneto will still remember the god who came from the sky, he will still remember everything that happened in that small town during World War E, and he has a strong obsession with the existence of Chu-Mu, but due to cognitive impairment, even if Chu-Mu appeared in front of him now and used the same method as before, he would not recognize Chu-Mu as the person he met back then. Affected by cognition, he is such a magical person state. Magneto is affected by cognitive impairment. That's why I failed to recognize that the Homelander who is very active in the world today is Chu-Mu, the original god from heaven. This is quite reasonable. It's not because of any paradox. One thing to say. Chu-Mu knew the reason why Magneto didn't recognize him, but a new doubt was that when couldn't help but arise in Chu-Mu's mind. Regarding the curse on Magneto, how did it appear on Magneto? This curse is obviously covering up Magneto's knowledge of Chu-Mu's identity. I have never done anything like this since I came back. Chu-Mu is really confused now. He tried to recall it. I did not plant a similar curse on Magneto before leaving World War E, so how did Magneto become infected with this curse? Chu-Mu just felt puzzled. The only thing he was certain of was that the curse on Magneto was absolutely inseparable from him. After all, not all beings were qualified to plant this curse. First, such a strange method. It is not a means that ordinary people can control. Secondly, Magneto is not a weakling originally. There is also Charles in X Academy, who can block the perception of these two people. It is even more difficult to plant cognitive impairment in Magneto. Want to do this? The guarantee has to be done by a strong level godfather himself. The existence of a level godfather deliberately sets up a cognitive barrier for Magneto, just to block his recognition of me. What is the purpose of doing this? Chu-Mu thought more and more. It becomes more and more difficult to understand. His instinct told him so. There must be some very important reason for this. However, because there are no clues, he couldn't figure it out at all. The strong level godfather did this to Magneto to block Magneto's knowledge of Homelander. It couldn't be because he wanted to surprise Chu-Mu and Magneto, right? How can a strong level godfather be so boring? There must be some reason why the other party did such a thing, and the other party may not know much about Chu-Mu. After all, the intersection of Chu-Mu and Magneto. Witness. There is only one Red Skull. Could it be the Ancient One? A name suddenly popped into Chu-Mu's mind. Kamar Taj's Sorcerer Supreme, who had this kind of strength and was able to know and rise to Chu-Mu's situation. Regardless of the doubts, Ancient One fits the bill. But whether it is the Ancient One of this time or the Ancient One of that time in the past, aren't they already dead? There shouldn't be any Ancient One from the parallel universe, right? Chu-Mu is not sure about this either. Marvel's parallel universe is like stars. No one can tell whether the Ancient One from other universes will come to this universe. It is not difficult for Sorcerer Supreme to travel through parallel universes. Chu-Mu thought about it carefully. The Ancient One of the parallel universe perceived the demise of the Ancient One of this universe. It is not impossible that one or two curious Ancient Ones or other Sorcerer Supremes came over to check the situation. Definitely. It may also be that the Ancient One in this universe took action against Magneto before Chu-Mu was expelled and perished due to the banishment. Then the cognitive impairment suffered by Magneto after the return of forbidden animal husbandry will naturally not be affected. Sorcerer Supreme. There is definitely a method that is not affected by time changes. Is this really the case? Chu-Mu frowned. Even the Ancient One. He also couldn't figure out why Ancient One did this. And the Ancient One is probably not that capable. Before banishing Chu-Mu, he knew who Chu-Mu would interact with in the past. Chu-Mu has the only characteristic in the world. True. Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One, as the Asgardian of Time Gem, and possessing Kamar Taj's countless magic books, she is indeed able to deduce the past and the future to a certain extent. Even the past and future of some unparalleled powerful people cannot escape the eyes of this level godfather, but those unparalleled powerful people do not have the uniqueness of time that Chu-Mu possesses. Do you still remember the previous description of the identity of the Fool of History? You have gained the uniqueness in endless time. You can change history and play with time without authorization, without having to worry about encountering revenge from time. When the opportunity comes, you will be able to leave an unknown name and footprints in history, and change countless events in the past, present and future. A very simple and straightforward description of identity. The uniqueness of time, brought to Chu-Mu, is also easy to understand. For example, the time gem held by Sorcerer Supreme, as well as many time-related rules, will no longer be able to be applied to Chu-Mu under the influence of this characteristic. Not to mention it was Chu-Mu himself who caused the change. Even if someone deliberately changed something in the past and wanted to take this opportunity to influence Chu-Mu, then all plans would not be able to affect the unique Chu-Mu. As for traveling to the time point where Chu-Mu is, that is also impossible. Even if Kong the Conqueror plays with time like that, the top wise man who knows how to calculate and change history, it is impossible to find an opportunity to calculate Chu-Mu in time. After all, they can no longer enter any time point where Chu-Mu exists, so how can they target Chu-Mu? All beings who try to travel through time will find that they have only entered a parallel world, a universe where Chu-Mu does not exist. Naturally, what happens in that universe cannot affect Chu-Mu. No matter what these painstaking methods are used, life at almost all levels will not be able to reach Chu-Mu's past, and naturally they will not be able to see Chu-Mu's future. Even the Conqueror Kong Shang is subject to this kind of restraint, let alone the Ancient One who only holds the time gem and has not even reached the level of jumping out of the three realms. It's really not that Chu-Mu looks down on the Ancient One. The main reason is that Chu-Mu's plugin does have such an effect, so the person who influenced Magneto is naturally unlikely to be the Ancient One. When I was fighting the Ancient One, my future was not yet determined. Even the things I would do in the past should have been unknown. It is impossible for the Ancient One to affect Magneto's cognitive impairment in advance. Besides, what is she trying to do? Chu-Mu frowned slightly, and a strange look flashed through his mind. Regarding the terrifying face of the Ancient One and the lack of soul, Chu-Mu still has not been able to figure out what happened to the Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One. Definitely. I didn't expect what happened to the Ancient One. It does not affect his judgment on Magneto's status. Even the most powerful person, if he wants to exert influence on Magneto, can only attack Magneto after Chu-Mu has an intersection with Wan-Si during World War E. From the time when Chu-Mu left World War E to the time when Chu-Mu traveled into this universe, it is possible that a time traveler would appear and attack Magneto at a time when Chu-Mu did not exist in this world. But, again, what is the point of such targeting? About Magneto's cognitive impairment, Chu-Mu was puzzled. But he was able to confirm that the person who set up the cognitive impairment for Magneto must be targeting him. After careful consideration, Chu-Mu did not think that he had offended anyone who had such a method. After all, Chu-Mu is not a person who likes to cause trouble. Anyone who can do this kind of tricks on Magneto should have the strength of level Godfather. Among the guys he doesn't deal with, those who can reach this level, you can basically count them on one hand. Among them, the one who offended the most was probably the Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One. After all, Chu-Mu beat all the Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One to death, and depending on the situation, all the Ancient Ones on the entire timeline died together. If you want to say whether Ancient One has any reason to mess with Chu-Mu, there must be a very good reason. However, Chu-Mu also feels that he has been wronged. Who told Ancient One that the Sorcerer Supreme should not come to die? And everyone who died probably couldn't figure out the operation on Magneto. Chu-Mu continued to think about it, and for a while he really couldn't figure out who it could be. Definitely. It's not necessarily someone you've offended before, it might be someone you've offended in the future but haven't met yet. The other party may come from the longer future. As mentioned before, due to the uniqueness of Chu-Mu that even the gods of the level universe do not have, no existence can come to the timeline where Chu-Mu existed. However, starting from the time period when Chu-Mu left the World War E period, until the time point when Chu-Mu traveled to the Marvel Universe, there was no trace of Chu-Mu's existence. Therefore, people from the past or future time and space can use many methods to descend into this time interval that is not affected by Chu-Mu's uniqueness of time. If someone wants to make some plans against Chu-Mu, this time period can indeed be put to good use by them. Perhaps the cognitive barrier of the City Magnetic Master comes from the ban on grazing in the future. It might not be the enemy. In short, Chu-Mu's intuition told him that Magneto's cognitive impairment must be some kind of trap set against him. What effect the other party wants to achieve is still unknown. Traveling through time really caused a lot of trouble. Chu-Mu couldn't help but patted his forehead again. At the moment, he felt a pang of helplessness. On the surface, you are just a versatile, big-name director destined to become a god. Behind your back, you own countless industries and power. However, behind these seemingly unusual appearances, you also hide a deeper background. You have the power to play with time and fool history. This is the Fool of History's description of Chu-Mu's identity. At the moment, Chu-Mu just wants to complain. What has the power to play with time and fool history? This looks like he was being teased so much. After reviewing the identity that gave him the uniqueness of time, Chu-Mu felt even more inexplicably uncomfortable. He obviously needed to admit this kind of trouble more than once. No way. Who made The Fool of History a platinum-level identity mission, very rewarding. Identity-specific mission. Successfully fool history 3 times. Task reward. Power of Destiny. Power of Destiny. The tide hidden in history is just the pen and ink you use to write stories, and you will draw endless power from these stories. With such rewards, he apparently also needs to travel through time twice in the future. One thing to say. Chu Mu already has a little resistance to traveling through time because of the changes in the world and the mysteries surrounding Magneto. It's a little bit like the galaxy at your fingertips. However, even though Chu Mu feels that he no longer wants to travel through time, his mission as the Fool of History cannot never be completed. Sooner or later, he had to think of a method to complete this task. After all, 1/3 of the task process had been completed. If he really wanted to give up, he would obviously be a bloodsmith. They all endured the pain once, notwithstanding the other 2. Then isn't the pain you endured for the first time in vain? This is actually the same as going to an internet cafe to stay up all night and paying an all-night fee. You have paid for an all-nighter. Do you really want to stay there until 2 o'clock in the middle of the night? Do you want to go back to sleep? Then tonight's all-nighter, instant noodles with sausage, and energy drinks were all wasted, right? This is the truth. Moreover, the Fool of History has a platinum status after all, so the rewards of the Fool of History mission are indeed very attractive. The Power of Destiny. Ability to draw strength from history that has changed. This method can be regarded as a second divinity, or a very high-end top divinity. You only need to change history to gain the happiness of becoming stronger instantly. Just think about it. Chu Mu can't decide whether Awakening will give up its mission as the Fool of History. Moreover, the 3 missions of the Fool of History fooled history 3 times. The history changed during this period. After obtaining the identity reward of the Power of Destiny, the changes in history will also provide Chu Mu with strength to draw from. Not sure. Once the mission of the Fool of History is completed, Chu Mu will be able to become a multi-universe level being after accumulating 3 improvements after fooling history 3 times. He originally had a plan for the identity mission of the Fool of History, but the sudden attack of the Ancient One disrupted his plan for the identity mission of the Fool of History. To know. Originally, Chu Mu planned to find a parallel universe to complete his identity mission as the Fool of History. In that case, even if he turned the parallel universe upside down, it would not have much impact on his world and life. He was almost once considered a perfect plan. After all, it's a big deal. After completing the identity mission of the Fool of History, and gaining the Power of Destiny, the more power you can draw from the changed history. If we were to find a parallel universe with a low sense of existence and travel directly to the early days of the Big Bang, Chu Mu felt that he could take off on the spot with just a few small operations. Hey, let's go to the parallel universe to cause trouble. I hope there won't be such messy situations anymore. Chu Mu doesn't intend to complete the identity mission of the Fool of History for the time being. After all, he has just returned from the Second World War. Even if he is a social beast in 1996, he should have some rest time, not to mention that he is a capitalist who is used to enjoying things. When you have free time, you can take the time to travel to the parallel universe and complete the identity of the Fool of History. Anyway, it is very simple to cross the cosmic barrier with billions of shining wings. I still need to understand how much the world has changed. This is not an easy task. Chu Mu has a hunch that a lot of things have changed in this world. How to say? As a deity, Chu Mu's intuition is naturally very sensitive. The world changes. It's not just the point he can overlook from the starry sky in the universe. In fact, the historical trend of the entire world has already begun when Chu Mu defeated the tentacle monster. Only in dimensions outside the universe. The concept of time is different from the concept of time in the Marvel universe. Even though Chu Mu has spanned so much time, the changes outside the dimension have just happened at the moment. Just after Chu Mu defeated the tentacle monster and annihilated all the spirituality of the tentacle monster, the destruction of the tentacle monster was already sensed by the dimension Mephisto from the outside dimension. At the moment, Chu Mu is looking down at the Earth in the Marvel universe. In a mysterious dimension, some mysterious existence. After realizing the demise of the tentacle monster, through some kind of information acquisition method that is more mysterious than quantum entanglement, I already know a little bit about the Marvel universe. Boom. This is a special world hidden in the deepest, hellside dimension. Entire dimension. Not a ray of light or brightness could be seen. There is only boundless darkness and countless terrifying tentacles that fill the entire dimensional world, Each of these tentacles is large enough to span an entire star field. The tentacle monsters that fought Chu Mu on the Earth could only be regarded as microorganisms and bacteria in front of elephants in front of such terrifying and huge tentacles. Boom, boom, boom. The sound that resounds throughout the entire dimensional world comes from the tentacles that are constantly flipping and waving. Countless things and barriers in space are constantly being destroyed by the random movements of these tentacles. Even if it is just an act like stretching, it exuded a terrifying power that even space barriers could not withstand. Fortunately, the space in this dimension can repair itself, and the repair speed is not satisfactory. Otherwise, I am afraid that the world in this dimension will be directly destroyed by the terrifying tentacles. Fortunately, the quality of this dimensional world is not low. If it were replaced by some small worlds or small dimensions, it would almost certainly not be able to accommodate such a terrifying super life form. Judging from the fact that this life form is helpless in this dimension, it is obvious that the current dimension can barely accommodate this powerful super life form. It's like huge amounts of life being stuffed into a can. Just thinking about it, you will know that it is obviously impossible for a powerful super life to be too comfortable in this dimension. In the dimension of hell, I have grown to the limit. Now, a duplication I spread outside finally allows me to see the hope I have been waiting for countless years. I need a promotion. It was as if there were tens of millions of different beings talking at the same time. The sharp and chaotic voices filled the entire special dimension. A pair of green eyes that were bigger than the sun slowly opened in the darkness. In its eyes, reflecting the scene of infinitely terrifying destruction, it is the death of one universe after another, the wailing of countless lives, and the nourishment of countless souls that blend with it. Opportunity for promotion. The lost. Authority. This is the body of the tentacle monster killed by Chu Mu. In the endless universe, there have been times when his name has been spread throughout the world. It's called lust, one of the 7 deadly sins in hell. 7 deadly sins. In Latin it is called septem peccata mortalia. In English it is called 7 deadly sins. In Chinese, well, no explanation is needed in Chinese. They are the evil that inhabits all life after God created all things. Pride, jealousy, rage, laziness, greed, gluttony and lust. With the development of all things in the universe, they have also become one of the oldest existences in hell. Every life. No one can escape being infected by them. And when human beings become the chosen ones favored by God, and their power has the most suitable carrier, they gain extremely powerful power and personality. In the hell side, even a dimensional Mephisto like Mephisto cannot match the strength of the 7 deadly sins. In fact, Mephisto is just a small player who dare not take a breath in front of the 7 deadly sins. After all, Mephistos from powerful dimensions like the 7 deadly sins do not need to plot against the world and devour the souls of humans favored by God like other demons. For the 7 deadly sins, they just have to walk evil in the world. The corruption of those human souls triggered original sin. It will become the nourishment for their growth. This is much simpler than swallowing the soul, and this method of improvement can be called a sustainable development strategy. A growth method like Mephisto's that devours human souls is, in the final analysis, just a one-time transaction, and tempting others to fall is far more than just a one-time promotion. After all, there is no limit to depravity. People. There is far less limit than I imagined, and the 7 deadly sins will draw nutrients from this fall. This unique way of growth is an advantage that other devils and demons cannot match. Also, they originally served as the 7 deadly sins. Largest capital. Like death, they are the collection of original sin. It's the backside of heaven. Lust, chastity. Gluttony, temperance, greed, charity, sloth, diligence. Rage, wrath, patience, envy, kindness. Pride, humility. When people inevitably slide to their side, their power will become stronger. No one can tell how strong the capital they have possessed for countless epochs. It can probably only be seen from their status in hell, second only to Satan and Samael, that every 10 original sins are the top bosses in hell. How to say it? That is to say, because of their unique growth methods, most of their growth has reached a bottleneck, and it is difficult for them to break through to a higher level. After all, although there is no limit to depravity, the way they can induce people to depravity is limited, and they cannot come to the world with their own power. But just using the power of duplication to spread original sin in the world, naturally it is impossible to do whatever you want with the world. The power of duplication is still not enough. In front of some big guys in the world, as long as duplication dances too happily, it will be easily sanctioned by the big guys in the world. The loss of a duplication means the loss of a soul, which is not worth the loss. Therefore, in any universe in the multi-universe, the 7 deadly sins cannot rule the entire universe. Just like in the Chu-Mu universe, the duplication of the tentacle monster was sanctioned. In many universes, as long as the foreign invaders do something too outstanding, they will be sanctioned by the local strong people in that universe, and like even Mephisto from the hellside, like the 7 deadly sins cannot retaliate against them. After all, God has stipulated the scope of their activities. If they want to come to the human world in their true form, the conditions required can almost be called unachievable and demanding. Because of this, they can only make small fuss in the human world and use duplication to secretly do things. The growth achieved by the 7 deadly sins and others is much simpler than that of Mephisto in other dimensions. But has grown to its current limit. Their level of life has been stuck at a certain stage for a long time. Want to break through? Naturally, some opportunities are needed. And how to get the opportunity? Every original sin is racking their brains for it, not only the lust and desire that transforms into a tentacle monster. My original sin is almost always duplicating towards the endless multi-universe. They are all trying to find opportunities for breakthroughs, or to find that extremely rare kind, where the entire universe can be sacrificed to become a marginal universe to improve themselves. As long as enough of those fringe universes are found, they can advance their life levels. In the beginning, the tentacle monster actually had this idea in mind. Only this time, symbol of lust, his duplication in a certain universe found a different miracle for him. Not only the kind of authority it originally hoped to obtain, but also the authority that all lives covet, the glory that all lives are pursuing since the loss of God. GGGG. I will become the new glory. As the terrifying being opened his eyes and analyzed the information similar to quantum entanglement, he did not know what specific situation his duplication encountered. But he also knew what his duplication was looking for, the lost paradise. This was real estate that had been coveted by many hell lords when God was still active. God is missing. Many people are even unable to sense the existence of God. The lost paradise has become even more popular. Whoever can find this lost paradise can be crowned in heaven and gain the authority of God. Who doesn't want to be the new God? I also think about the 7 deadly sins. No. The tentacle monster's body was too excited, so it couldn't recognize the villain's unique laughter. It wanted to use its body to descend to that universe and seize heaven right away. Definitely. This is also a way to describe its impatient mood. If it wants to come, it will definitely not be able to come. But it can create a more powerful duplication again. Then, let this more powerful duplication help it gain authority. As long as the other competitors don't notice, what's mine is mine. It has to be said that the tentacle monster's body is now very willing to spend money. Not only did he tear off a large piece of soul from the origin of his soul, he even spent some money to store the most original law power in his dimension into this duplication. You must know that this is different from the law that can be expressed by dimensional projection. To put it simply, it's this duplication. With a method similar to Sage's strike, bring back what I want. After giving some instructions to duplication, it throws this newly created duplication into chaos. New duplication. Carrying the expectations and new mission of the tentacle monster itself, it was thrown into the Marvel universe where Chu-Mu lives under the operation of the tentacle monster itself. One thing to say. It may be the first ancient existence in countless dimensions to know the authority of God in the location of the gate to heaven, but it is definitely not the only one to get the information. Among countless dimensions, when an ancient existence takes some action, there will naturally be people watching it to find out what kind of situation caused the abnormality in this existence. How to say? Some of them want to spy on other beings of the same level because of involution, and some of them want to observe whether powerful beings like the 7 deadly sins will pose a threat to themselves. Anyway, lust, one of the 7 deadly sins, suddenly created an unprecedentedly powerful duplication and launched it into a certain universe. Even if other beings didn't know what kind of plan this ancient being had, they would always want to find out and protect it. If it is not accurate, it will also be followed by duplication into the Marvel universe where Chu-Mu is located. No matter what, he will also focus his attention on the Marvel universe where Chu-Mu lives. No one can tell whether other beings will discover the secrets of this universe. The hidden dangers posed by Heaven's Gate, it has unfolded quietly. It's not just that. As Chu-Mu returns from the past to the future, after some things are touched and changed, not only the dimensions on the hell side, but also 10 special dimensions are also affected. This is a dimensional world that no human has ever set foot on, with towering volcanoes everywhere. In the real dimension, Due to Chu Mu traveling through time, some things were replaced and some things were changed. The world has become calm. The delicate environment that had existed for many years was broken. Boom. Boom. There are still huge amounts of sound constantly rising and falling. In Chu Mu of the Marvel Universe, we return to the beginning of the 21st century, and the countless volcanoes in this dimension seem to have all been awakened suddenly. They seem to have accumulated energy for countless years, and at this moment they all burst out in unison. One after another, 10 shocking sound echoed throughout the entire dimension. Without any exaggeration. Even if one ignores the noise caused by these sounds alone are enough to shock many extraordinary level beings to death. The level Godfather would probably have to cover his ears. Boom. 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 To be able to make such a big noise, the scene is naturally very exaggerated, like the end of the world, and the entire dimensional world is constantly shaking. Countless huge volcanoes began to erupt, and large streams of hot magma were like magnificent rays, erupting into infinitely dazzling flames that shot straight into the sky. They roared, and surged. Out of control, the terrifying magma soared into the sky, even penetrating the dimensional barrier, destroying all the small worlds in the cracks around this dimension. Pieces of small dimensions, life of life. He didn't even react. The whole world was reduced to ashes along with it. There are many powerful level godfathers in these small worlds, but their lives are as fragile as ordinary people in the endless sea of fire. The moment I've been waiting for, has arrived. There was an ancient and heavy voice, rising from the dimension that erupted into a sea of fire. Obviously. This is an ancient and powerful life that has awakened from countless years of slumber. The sound of his awakening. It is the floating small worlds around the dimension where he is located. The small dimensions are suffering from catastrophic destruction. The originally peaceful chaos around them are dyed with a terrifying red color at the moment. In this red tone, any dimension or world contaminated will be unable to escape the end of being reduced to ashes. This fire. Extremely weird, it has a pure red color. Go, child, and complete the task I assigned you. The Honda's voice from before sounded again, and then, the sea of monstrous fire roared in the entire chaos. As soon as the majestic and terrifying voice fell, a green figure with strange evil patterns on his body was released from the volcanic dimension where he was sleeping and resurrecting. As you command. I will complete the mission you gave me. Huge amounts of green sounds. In addition to the terrifying giant-like body, there are also strange skin patterns that are constantly shining all over his body, and there is also a pair of extremely ferocious wings on his back. It flew out from the endless flames, fanning the ferocious wings behind it, and flew towards chaos. The destination it wanted to reach was the world where Chu Mu was. Obviously. This is another spy released by Mephisto from a disturbed dimension. Only. Different from the duplication that Mephisto likes to make in the hell-side dimension. This green figure is just some kind of apostle who has been transformed and brainwashed, and his soul has been branded with the mark of piety. How to say? Every dimension Mephisto has its own way of exploring the situation. Not all Mephistos in dimensions are as fond of self-abuse and cutting their own souls to create duplication as the Mephistos in the hell-side dimension. Use brainwashed apostles. In fact, it is a more popular method. As for this huge green figure who was sent out, with strange lines all over his body and a pair of wings, if Chu Mu were here, he would naturally be able to recognize him as the Hulk who had been transformed by magic. Yes. A never-before-seen Hulk form. The Hulk from an unknown parallel universe became a puppet of an ancient and mysterious existence, and was transformed and brainwashed in endless years. The only thing that is certain is that this transformed Hulk is very strong. At least. It is also an existence that has reached the level single universe life level. Being able to be regarded as an apostle by an ancient existence naturally cannot be a simple strength. I want to complete my mission. The transformed Hulk repeated the same words while lying on the barrier of the Marvel Universe where Chu Mu was located. He directly attacked the barrier of the universe. The terrifying scarlet luster appeared all over his body as the lines on his skin lit up. This guy actually wanted to tear open the cosmic barrier directly with brute force. No one can stop me from completing my mission. The scarlet luster seemed to be constantly stimulating the Hulk's reason. His rants grew more intense, with an angry buildup. Because of his own characteristics, the Hulk is naturally getting stronger. His eyes are red. If anyone can get close to the Hulk, it can be discovered. In the depths of the Hulk's scarlet eyes, apart from the wave-like anger, there was just a void, as if a soul was missing. Definitely. Now this strange and transformed Hulk only seems to have lost its soul. In fact, it is completely different from the Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One who has no soul and only has a body left, but can still talk, move and think. The transformed Weird Hulk has not yet reached the weird level of Sorcerer Supreme. The case of Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One. That's why the real body does not contain a soul. But because of some special reasons, the body can still move and think as if it has a soul. No one can tell whether the Ancient One in that state is still the original Ancient One. Or maybe it's a corpse that has regained its intelligence and come to life. Compared with the degree of weirdness, the transformed Weird Hulk is still far behind the Ancient One. The transformed Weird Hulk still has a complete soul, but it is very severely restricted. The reason why he looks like he is missing his soul is actually just that his soul has been enslaved and controlled, and he has lost his soul. It is just the ability of thinking as an independent life. It's like brainwashing a colorful human being into a machine that can only operate according to fixed lines. After being brainwashed and transformed, the strange Hulk naturally lost the aura that a living soul should have, and also lost a person. What it should feel like to be an independent being. In this situation, from appearance and image, the transformed Weird Hulk feels like a walking zombie. In fact, his soul indeed failed to play the role that any soul should have. The ancient existence in the mysterious and strange dimension used very evil methods on this strange and transformed Hulk. The transformed Weird Hulk is a thinking puppet. Compared with the duplication made by an ancient being, one of the 7 deadly sins, it definitely lacks a trace of spirituality. But sometimes there is no spirituality. As long as you can have the most basic judgment ability to complete the mission given by your master, you may be able to work more efficiently than duplication, which has an independent personality. There are pros and cons. That ancient existence in the mysterious volcanic dimension must be a puppet like the Weird Hulk that needs to be transformed, and there are actually other reasons why he chose the Weird Hulk to be transformed. Mission accomplished. Nothing can stop me from completing my mission. Ho! Hulk is unstoppable. The transformed Weird Hulk was like a destructive maniac, lying outside the cosmic barrier of the Marvel Universe where Chu Mu was located, and a strange and terrifying color erupted around him. His hands had already penetrated directly into the interior of the cosmic barrier, and as the terrifying power erupted, it cooperated with the influence of the strange power brought by the strange lines. I saw. The cosmic barrier that was originally indestructible and should have been extremely stable was actually torn open by him with brute force, and an obvious crack suddenly appeared on the cosmic barrier. Roar. As the transformed Weird Hulk constantly exerted force, the barrier on the outer edge of the universe began to become violently unstable. This instability soon became more intense under the exertion of the transformed Weird Hulk. The transformed Weird Hulk, the tearing cracks are also constantly getting larger. Obviously, the transformed Weird Hulk wants to enter the Marvel Universe where Chu Mu lives. And the way he tried to break in was very Hulk-like. About the actions of the weirdly transformed Hulk, Chu Mu definitely has no perception. After he returned to his own era, the power of the billions of radiant wings was restrained, and he no longer used the billions of radiant wings to interact with the cosmic barrier. Naturally, it was impossible to feel the changes in the cosmic barrier. After all, he is not a god who represents some basic law of the Marvel Universe. Definitely. Although Chu Mu was not aware of the strange behavior of the transformed Hulk, the gods who represented the basic operating laws of the Marvel Universe were able to sense it. The cosmic barrier was trembling unsteadily, and beings like the 5 gods of the universe would naturally sense it immediately as cracks were being torn open. There are also ancient beings in other universes who are sensitive to this kind of change, but the ones who feel the strongest are definitely the 5 gods of the universe. After all, the 5 gods of the universe can be said to be the cornerstone of the existence of the entire Marvel Universe. If anything changes in their own universe, they will naturally be the first to feel the change. What's going on? Eternal. Simply put, he is the god of time. He is the embodiment of the sum of time in all Marvel's multi-universes and dimensions. Like Chu Mu stirring up time, will be sensed by him. Only. Whether he will take action depends on the instructions given by the consciousness of the universe. This can be seen from the fact that after Chu Mu returned to the future, there was no eternal duplication coming to the door. Cosmic consciousness. No instructions were given to eternity. Damn. Here we go again. Not only are there guys traveling through time, there are also those damn stowaways. Now there is a guy who is blatantly trying to break into our universe. What are they all for? Eternity opened its ancient eyes, and the star-like eyes were full of doubts. The 5 gods of the universe are all very confused about the sudden changes. They don't know what is contained in their own universe, which is enough to plunge this universe into a catastrophe and become a battlefield for Mephistos in countless dimensions. Therefore, there are many people sneaking in and stirring up time. The reasons are all extremely confusing. I smell the death of life. These outsiders will inevitably cause the death of life. A black mist-like figure condensed in front of Eternal. She is death. The second in the list of the 5 gods is death. The creation death goddess and Asgard's death goddess Hela are indeed not the same. In fact, there is no standard answer in Marvel as to when the goddess of death, the god of the universe, was born. The most reliable theory at present is that eternity and death were born at the same time. The goddess of death is in charge of all life and souls in the universe. In fact, she should be the master of life, but she is more obsessed with death, but she does not deliberately create death. After all, if all living things in the universe return to death, she will also lose the meaning of existence and eventually die. Are you still looking for that thing that attracts you? It's time for you to return. Eternal looked at the shapeless black mist in front of him and spoke in a deep voice. He knows. The black mist in front of me is not the manifestation of death, but just the will of death. The real manifestation of death. At the moment, I am doing something unknown in the place called Earth. It's not yet time. The sound of death seems far away. The Earth has a great secret. Here, I want to get a glimpse of the real death. Her voice carried a hint of yearning, and the content she described made Eternity very puzzled. Real death? What is that? Although Eternity is one of the cosmic gods in the Marvel universe, his understanding of death is also very limited. After all, a being like him has never experienced death. The future is almost impossible to experience. Naturally, it is impossible to understand the meaning of the Death Woman myth. Definitely, Eternity does not really possess the characteristic of immortality. The main reason is that without it, multi-universe will cease to exist. Therefore, it can also be said that as long as the multi-universe is not destroyed and countless universes are not destroyed, it can also be said that Eternity cannot be truly eliminated. After all, the 5 gods in each single universe are actually just part of the 5 gods. The completed 5 gods are multi-universe level beings. They exist in all multi-universe. It is a multiple in one existence. Are there any death rules you don't understand? Eternal looked curiously at the black mist in front of him. The black mist floated and a female voice chuckled. We are not all-knowing and all-powerful, right? Above us, there are naturally more magnificent powers. This humility of the goddess of death is unprecedented. This was an emotion not seen in the goddess of death for Eternity. Therefore, the eternal curiosity became even more intense. The Earth. Although we have always known that it is special, I still really did not expect that the Earth can give you enlightenment. The eternal voice is filled with wonder. There is a big secret here. Death repeated his previous words. What's the big secret? Eternal looked towards the direction of the Earth. His gaze covered every inch of the Earth's mountains and rivers, but he did not see anything that particularly concerned him. I suspect R1 is here. Death answered in a deep voice. Let the eternal gaze freeze. Just when he was about to ask something, suddenly, another figure filled with infinite law power appeared in front of the 2 cosmic gods. I still want to have a good sleep. What is going on now? The emotional ups and downs of the visitor are huge. She is also a female figure. As for identity, it is the Eternity among the 5 gods of the Marvel universe. Infinity is called sister by Eternity. To some extent, they are indeed twins. Because when multi-universe was born, time and space complemented each other, so where there is eternity, there must be infinity. The two have almost always been inseparable. However, the power of the infinite original is not as powerful as Eternity, let alone the goddess of death. She can definitely still be regarded as one of the important components of the universe. Infinitely manage all spaces, whether multi-universe or various dimensions, whether it is material space or soul realm, any space can be infinitely manipulated. I can't live without this sister forever. Without space, time would still exist, but there would be no place for life to survive, and there would be nothing to protect eternal nature. Same reason. Infinity will therefore lose its meaning. Therefore, the two have always been inseparable. Infinity exists for eternity. It understands the idea of eternity best and always stands on the same front with eternity. When necessary, infinity will join forces with eternity and become a stronger god after combining. Such connections clearly extend beyond those with other cosmic gods. You're awake? The eyes of eternity looking towards infinity are full of endearment. That flea lying on the barrier is making so much noise. How can I still sleep? Infinite angrily looked outside the universe, where the transformed Weird Hulk was still tearing at the barrier. One thing to say. The transformed Weird Hulk now looks like a demolition crew. A rough way to break in. The 5 gods of the universe were all speechless. The guys who stow away all have great origins, and the 5 gods of the universe are not easy to deal with within the scope allowed by the rules. And this is really the second time they encounter guys like the strange and transformed Hulk who break in. Arrive. The first time I met him was not long ago. A life favored by the will of the universe breaks the barriers of time and space with infinite brilliance. At that time, eternity can no longer recognize that it is about to take action. However, but he was stopped by the consciousness of the universe. How should I put it? In comparison, that guy didn't give him any face, but after all, he was a person favored by the consciousness of the universe. But now that demolition team outside the universe. The 5 gods of the universe are very angry with it. However, if they want to take action, they still need the voice of the cosmic consciousness. No way. The power of the transformed weird green giant also comes from a lot of sources. Even the 5 gods of the universe do not want to offend the Mephisto from the outer dimension without the support of the consciousness of the universe. They stared at the barrier, always waiting for orders. Hulk is invincible. Hulk will definitely complete his mission. Tear apart, and outside the universe. The transformed Weird Hulk obviously doesn't know that he has been watched by the 5 gods of the Marvel Universe. Definitely. Even if he realizes it, he won't react. After all, he is a controlled fool who is better than a puppet. In his heart. Just full of obsession to complete the mission. How to say? Level single universe other Hulk. Even after exploding the power of the strange lines on his body, he was able to break through the cosmic barrier and enter the Marvel Universe where Chu Mu was located, just like Chu Mu's billions of shining wings. It must be said that this transformed Hulk, definitely the one with the best strength among the countless Hulk forms. Let's talk about form. The Hulk is definitely one of the most diverse characters in Marvel. The most classic image. Just the savage Hulk. The most common Hulk in movies and comics is simple-minded, prone to rage, has a righteous and kind heart, strong protection, simplicity and strength. The power of this form has no upper limit, and the angrier it is, the more powerful it is. There is also the Grey Hulk, the smallest and weakest of all the Hulks, but his intelligence is very high, he is very cunning and has a strong desire. These are all forms whose strength cannot reach level Godfather, but well-known forms like Green Shang Hulk can reach the same strength as Sentry, which is comparable to level Godfather. Definitely. It really comes down to strength. Also counting the Green Hulk and Captain Universe Hulk. The 4-handed Green Hulk from the parallel universe can tear apart the observers of 7 parallel universes, and the Captain of the Universe Hulk. The Hulk in this form does not only rely on anger to evolve, but also relies on the blessing of external life forms to achieve this. The ultimate state has the power to destroy the universe easily. The strength of Captain Universe Hulk in this state is comparable to Galactus, and it is also the strongest form of Hulk. Taking a closer look, the weird Hulk that has been transformed now can be regarded as one of the most popular Hulk. I have read to a great extent. Level single universe. Although it may not be enough in front of the 5 gods of the universe, if he is really allowed to enter the universe, it is guaranteed to cause a very big wave. Hulk. While roaring loudly, after a lot of hard work, the transformed weird Hulk finally broke a big hole in the barrier of the Marvel Universe to accommodate himself. He said nothing. Just drilled into B. Simple. Direct. The transformed weird Hulk directly tore open the cosmic barrier and got in, just like a strong loach. After he entered the cosmic barrier of the Marvel Universe, the cosmic barrier that was originally torn by him also healed quickly. It was as if it had never been torn apart. The cosmic barrier and self-healing ability of worlds like the Marvel Universe are much stronger than those in most dimensions. Otherwise, it would have become devastated when the cosmic barrier was broken again and again. In a universe like this, there will naturally be many beings who will try to enter it for various reasons. The barrier of the universe. For some beings whose life levels are not high enough, it may be very difficult to break through. However, in the eyes of some multi-universe level beings and even higher level beings, the cosmic barrier is actually just a thin film. The isolation effect achieved by the cosmic barrier is indeed very limited. Not only multi-universe life and life at higher levels, even within the category of level single universe, there are always some special lives in countless universes with special means that can survive within the level of level single universe. At this time, the power of the multi-universe level is touched upon. Like Chumu. Although there are not many existences like Chumu with similar means of billions of radiant wings among countless universes, they are certainly not unique. After all, although Chu-Mu's plugin, Almighty I, is very unbelievable, it does not mean that there is only one plugin called Chu-Mu in countless universes. No one knows whether there are level single universe lives in other universes, which can be used for some reasons. Obtain the power and means beyond one's own level. Xiao Gua can also be regarded as Gua. Xiao Gua is obviously not uncommon among countless universes. There are always beings who can obtain means beyond their own level by virtue of their own opportunities. Just like the weird Hulk who was transformed. Well, his experience may not be regarded as an opportunity. Strictly speaking, his experience should only be regarded as a tragedy. After all, he became a puppet of some mysterious bosses. Certainly not the dream of the transformed weird Hulk. But regardless of whether the situation of the transformed weird Hulk is a tragedy or an opportunity, the existence of the transformed weird Hulk also shows that in the level single universe, in addition to Chu-Mu with billions of radiant wings, there are still other beings have the means to break through the cosmic screen. It is definitely not possible for the transformed weird Hulk to break through the barriers of the Marvel Universe and enter the interior of the Marvel Universe simply by relying on his own brute force. Although the power of the transformed weird Hulk is definitely top-notch at the level of level single universe. After all, he is a powerful character who sacrifices his IQ for strength. However, under normal circumstances, it is absolutely impossible for the life of level single universe to follow the rules. His own ability breaks the barrier of the universe. Otherwise, why is level single universe called level single universe? This is not only because of the power that life at this level can explode, but also because of the range of activities that life at this level can move. Level single universe life. When relying only on one's own means. Most of them are unable to break through the cosmic barrier and leave their own universe. The biggest reason why the transformed weird Hulk can tear through the barrier of the universe is the lines on the body of the transformed weird Hulk that are engraved with law graphics and text. Don't look at it. When the transformed weird Hulk is tearing apart the cosmic barrier of the Marvel Universe where Chu-Mu is located, the muscles on his body and the power in his body are erupting in a terrifying gesture. However, in fact, the biggest contributor to the reason why the transformed weird Hulk is able to tear apart the barrier of the universe is the lines on the body of the transformed weird Hulk that are engraved with law graphics and text. The mysterious runes on the transformed weird Hulk were not carved as a cool tattoo. The reason why he has those runes on his body is naturally because the runes can play a great role. The ancient existence in the mysterious street dimension obviously wants the weird Hulk to be transformed to help him, so the ancient existence in the mysterious dimension naturally needs to be transformed. The weird Hulk has the trump card to complete the task perfectly, and those runes on his body and the strange appearance of the transformed weird Hulk is the trump card given by the ancient existence of the mysterious dimension to the transformed weird Hulk to walk in the Marvel Universe where Chu-Mu lives. The runes that can emit a strange red aura are traces of the law that the transformed weird Hulk was engraved by the ancient existence of the mysterious dimension. It can enhance the combat effectiveness of the modified weird Hulk, making the modified weird Hulk possess a body that can never be damaged and an increase in strength from increased anger. There will probably also be a function that constantly stimulates the anger of the transformed weird Hulk. It can probably be seen from the performance of the previously transformed weird Hulk when tearing apart the cosmic barrier. As long as the fluctuations of law appear, the transformed weird Hulk will be stimulated by strong anger, and then his power will be in crazy growth under the stimulation of anger. Have to say, this method of stimulating anger and improving employee efficiency can actually be played so well in the hands of Mephisto in one dimension. Mephisto in this dimension is more or less not a good character. After all, like a similar spur, on Earth, even those capitalists who have always been spurned by people are difficult to control, and they still have a bit of conscience. Only some slave owners in the old days could be so cruel and ruthless. Oh. It seems that entrepreneurs, a newly emerging force in the 21st century, are also well aware of this. In any case, the ancient existence of the mysterious dimension that can use the same stimulation methods as slave owners and entrepreneurs to control the transformed strange Hulk will definitely not be a positive role. Maybe it's Mephisto, a dimension even more evil than the 7 deadly sins. Definitely, when it comes to motivating the employees under his command, the ancient existence of the mysterious dimension still has some limitations. Instead of just using the painting method, it really gave some benefits to the transformed weird Hulk. First, it is the wings and body shape of the transformed weird Hulk. As obviously the body of the transformed weird Hulk, which has some special bloodline implanted by ancient beings from the mysterious dimension. It is likely that it is some kind of demon or devil's blood, which can greatly improve the strength of the transformed weird green giant and raise the strength of the transformed weird green judge to level single universe. The patterns on the transformed weird Hulk's body are not only an anger increaser, but also give the transformed weird Hulk some levels of level single universe, the power of law that should be out of reach. This is the modified weird green giant. The most important reason why giants can tear apart the barrier of the universe easily. When the transformed weird Hulk explodes, the evil energy surging in his body is the law blooming from the lines on the body of the transformed weird Hulk. This kind of law power has an extremely domineering characteristic. It can melt even the cosmic barrier, just like it has a flame that can destroy everything. Definitely. When used by the modified weird Hulk, he did not maintain an explosive posture to melt the barrier. The modified weird Hulk only slightly changed the original state of the cosmic barrier, like steel cooling. Although it is indestructible at the time, as long as the temperature reaches a critical point, the steel will melt into a pool of molten iron. This energy can dissolve the solid cosmic barrier into a fluffy state like soil. Definitely. This is just a description. The cosmic barrier will definitely not really become the same as soil, but it just describes that under the influence of that force, the cosmic barrier becomes a state that can be torn apart by the strange Hulk that can be transformed. And wait, the transformed weird Hulk recovers its energy, and the cosmic barrier, after being cooled, will naturally regain its original strength. That's too far. Back to business. The situation of the transformed weird Hulk is the best proof that among countless universes, Chu-Mu is not the only one who has the power to reach multi-universe in level single universe. Although the transformed weird Hulk is a slave and a manipulated puppet, he does possess the power that a life beyond the level single universe should have. And among countless universes, no one can tell how many lives there are that have similar adventures. Not even level single universe beings, but some beings that have not even reached the level Godfather level, may also have the means to cross the cosmic barrier for some reasons. There are many parallel universes in the Marvel world. Generally speaking, the worlds will not intersect, but sometimes there will be stories about individual characters crossing over. The most famous one is probably Deadpool. Deadpool's real name is Wade Winston Wilson. He was originally a Canadian Special Forces soldier who participated in the Weapon X program in order to cure his terminal illness. Probably one of the few survivors of this plan. Although the cancer was cured after being injected with Wolverine's gene, it also caused excessive growth of brain cells, and the person began to become very crazy and nonsensical. No way. After all, regeneration ability and cancer cells are mutually exclusive, resulting in facial disfigurement and body covered with scars. This is undoubtedly a very arrogant blow to a narcissistic handsome man. Moreover, no one knows how much damage those experiments did to Deadpool's brain and psyche. Despite these misfortunes, Deadpool is also a very lucky guy. It has a self-healing ability that far exceeds that of Wolverine, a belt that allows it to move instantaneously, and even the means to travel to other parallel universes. This guy has abilities that even Chu-Mu does not have in some parallel universes. For example, time travel into the editorial office or something. Definitely. This is a bit exaggerated, not talking about specific journals. Most Deadpools do have the ability to travel through parallel universes. This guy even traveled through a parallel universe and killed an actor who looked exactly like him. The reason for the murder was because the other party wanted to take on a role in an epic bad movie. It's also very outrageous. Like Deadpool, there are actually many characters in the Marvel universe who can travel through time and space in parallel universes, but are not originally very strong. I believe everyone who has watched Doctor Strange 2 Inches knows that Scarlet Witch has always wanted to obtain the ability of Miss United States, thus having a disagreement with Doctor Strange. Miss the United States is also in existence that can travel through parallel universes. She has the super ability to open star-shaped portals and can travel through multi-universes through portals. Definitely. Compare that to Deadpool. Miss United States is not very strong, but she also has a special feature. The Miss United States is the only individual in the multi-universe, which means there is only one Miss the United States in the entire multi-universe, so the Miss United States plays a vital role in the entire multi-universe. Because of this, it's Blacken's little Wanda who longs for her ability. Compared with other illegal parallel universe travelers, this Miss the United States should be regarded as a legal parallel universe traveler. She has a pass between major parallel universes and does not need to rely on any means to break through the universe barrier. Deadpool's method of time travel is similar to that of many stowaways. It is mostly a loophole that is used, but it naturally damages the cosmic barrier. Because of this, a complete universe, its cosmic barrier must have the ability to self-repair. Otherwise, how could we guard against so many stowaways and barbaric intruders? This is like the law of the jungle and the survival of the fittest. If some universes do not evolve a cosmic barrier that can repair themselves after being destroyed during the development stage, then this universe will inevitably not be able to become a real universe and can only be reduced to some dimensional worlds called small worlds. That's right. Most dimensional worlds are prototype universes that have been eliminated in the evolutionary history of the universe. Due to various reasons, they have not been able to evolve into truly complete universes. Naturally, they can only become unique dimensions with certain characteristics, and then after being found by certain beings, it takes over and becomes the chassis of those beings. As long as it's not the complete universe, all those dimensions are prototypes of the universe with incomplete evolution. It's like the dark dimension of Dormammu. Dormammu was originally just a human necromancer. He accidentally discovered the dark space and entered it. This is how he became the dimension Mephisto that scares countless digital universes. Dormammu is actually lucky. Just because he found a universe that has not evolved completely, he became the master of the dark space. Definitely, in order to achieve this goal, Dormammu also paid some price. Dormammu gave up his original body and gained extremely powerful dark power. In the process of integrating with the dark dimension, his body was replaced by the terrifying magical flame. In order to make the dark dimension and himself stronger, he would start to conquer other dimensions and become the dark side of the universe. Overlord, and became Doctor Strange's #1 enemy, all because he wanted to rely on the power of devouring other universes to make his own dark dimension one day become a real universe. If that is the case, as a dimensional master, he will also become the creator god of the new universe. Definitely, this is the secret between various dimensions in the universe. If you don't have some background, you really won't be able to access this level of knowledge. He's coming in. The transformed Weird Hulk has just entered the Marvel universe where Chu-Mu lives. The 5 great gods of the universe all turned their attention to him. The 5 gods of the universe are watching the strange and transformed Hulk enter the Marvel universe. It's hard for them not to notice. The transformed Weird Hulk forcefully tore apart the barrier of the universe, even waking up Infinite who had been sleeping. Naturally, it was impossible to cover the eyes and ears of the 5 gods of the universe. Alright. Judging from the movements of the strangely transformed Hulk, this guy should have never thought of covering up. In the final analysis, he is just a reckless man controlled by a mysterious dimension. A reckless man who became a puppet. Of course. There is no lower limit to how reckless you can be. This guy is a little too arrogant. Does he really think we have a good temper? His behavior is simply a provocation to us. This is the most fiery Annihilation among the 5 gods in the universe. Annihilation is one of the 4 abstract entities in the Marvel universe. It is the concrete phenomenon of non-existence and nothingness. It can be said that Annihilation is the most expressive of the 4 abstract entities. Annihilation is usually in its own dimension, outer void, and it often sends its own incarnations or agents to perform the task of destroying the universe for itself. Definitely. Although Annihilation looks like Pan Pie, he is also completing his work. For those beings who want to bypass him and exert influence on the universe, his reaction is even greater than that of his other brothers and sisters. I have the kind of overbearing personality where I can only lead this universe to its end. Such a domineering god of the universe. Naturally, he was extremely annoyed with the Weird Hulk who had been transformed. Unlike other guys who try to enter the Marvel universe where Chu-Mu lives. The transformed Weird Hulk is definitely a big fanfare. Unlike the duplication of lust, which is one of the 7 deadly sins, the transformed Weird Hulk did not enter the Marvel universe by smuggling, which naturally makes his entry impossible. Hidden from the eyes of the 5 gods of the universe. For the 5 gods of the universe, the behavior of the transformed Weird Hulk is undoubtedly a provocation. Not to mention the 5 gods of the universe who represent the cornerstone of the Marvel universe, even those ordinary-level single-universe beings in Chu-Mu's universe who pay a little attention to the situation of outer realm evil spirits, or the lives of level Godfather, are absolutely unable to do so. Ignore the movement of the transformed Weird Hulk. If the Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One is still alive, he will probably deal with the transformed Strange Hulk as soon as possible. Although the Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One is only a life in the level single universe, the Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One is a person covered by eternity after all. When necessary, you can also borrow some eternal power. For the existence of a level single universe like the transformed Weird Hulk, As long as it is not a head-on confrontation but allows the Sorcerer Supreme some sufficient preparation time, then the modified Weird Hulk will inevitably become the Sorcerer Supreme Ancient, one of the demons from the outer world sealed by one. It can protect the Earth for thousands of years, and protect the peace and stability of the Earth for thousands of years under the covetousness of countless multi-universe dimension Mephistos. Although the Sorcerer Supreme Ancient, she can be regarded as Chu Mu's enemy, but her methods have always been recognized by Chu Mu. Definitely. The current Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One no longer exists in the Marvel Universe where Chu Mu lives. Even the boss of the Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One, Eternal Life, does not know what happened to the Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One, so naturally he will not. Sorcerer Supreme stepped forward to deal with the strange transformed Hulk. The Sorcerer Supreme has completely lost its heritage with the disappearance of the Ancient One. What? Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is still a firm believer in science and will definitely not take on any responsibility to protect the safety of the universe. His only responsibility is to save lives and heal the wounded in the hospital. Yes. Doctor Strange. Stephen Strange's background is that of an excellent neurosurgeon, one of the top surgeons in the entire United States. In some parallel universes, Iron Man Tony Stark's heart surgery was performed by Doctor Strange himself. Today's Doctor Strange, Stephen Strange, as a medical tycoon, leads a life of luxury and luxury. Not to mention the responsibility of guarding the universe, his medical ethics as a doctor are not very noble, so naturally it is impossible to expect him to assume the responsibility of Sorcerer Supreme. After all, Doctor Strange Stephen Strange hasn't even begun to touch upon the truth about the world. One thing to say, this situation is indeed somewhat strange. When Chu Mu returned to this universe, after discovering something was wrong with Batman, he flew into the starry sky and checked on Doctor Strange's situation immediately. After all, when he was exiled by the Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One, Chu Mu was very curious about whether the Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One came to him to die. Mu naturally wanted to satisfy this curiosity that had arisen a long time ago. And the facts are proof. The Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One did not arrange all the funeral arrangements like the Ancient One that Chu Mu knew. This situation was not in line with the character of the Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One, but it was in line with the weird state of the Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One at that time. It must be related. Chu Mu still doesn't know what happened to Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One to this day. Even if it means death. Following the character of Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One, he should have passed on his funeral affairs and the responsibilities regarding Sorcerer Supreme. After all, the name Sorcerer Supreme is not just a popular name. Just like what Little Spider-Man's uncle said to Little Spider-Man, the greater the ability, the greater the responsibility. The identity of Sorcerer Supreme also represents a responsibility that cannot be evaded. However, in the last stage of his life, Sorcerer Supreme seemed to have lost any concern for this, and did not make any arrangements before finding Chu Mu to die. Not only was Doctor Strange Stephen Strange, who was supposed to take over the duties of the Sorcerer Supreme, not becoming the Sorcerer Supreme, but even the other magicians of Kamar Taj never received the Sorcerer Supreme inheritance. In the process of finding Chu Mu and using his life to banish Chu Mu, the Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One seemed to have completely failed to consider the legacy of the Sorcerer Supreme in the future of the universe. Obviously. No matter what happened to Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One, which caused Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One's temperament to change drastically, and his soul did not know where to go, it is certain that this change must have affected Sorcerer the way of thinking and personality that Supreme Ancient One was originally supposed to have. This also creates the Marvel Universe where Chu Mu lives. At the moment, there is no protection from the Sorcerer Supreme. This is the case. On the contrary, it greatly facilitates those Mephisto dimensions that have been coveting the Earth of this universe for a long time. They're smuggling. No hindrance. It's not just that at the moment there is no longer the guardian of the Sorcerer Supreme. Probably for a long time to come. The universe where Chu Mu lives will no longer be protected by the Sorcerer Supreme. After all, the Ancient One left no legacy, and Doctor Strange could not become the Sorcerer Supreme on his own. In the secular world, as a master and a highly educated materialist, the possibility that Doctor Strange Stephen Strange would suddenly want to go to the Himalayas to cleanse his mind and learn magic is extremely slim. As everyone knows, Doctor Strange the reason why Stephen Strange learned magic. Totally because of a car accident. Lost the rights and status they had in the secular world. An accidental car accident ended his medical career. His hands, which he relied on for survival, suffered comminuted fractures, and he could no longer pick up the familiar scalpel. Such a blow. This led Dr. Stephen Strange to search the world for a way to heal himself. It was also through the design of the Ancient One that Dr. Stephen Strange was able to find Kamar Taj. In fact, Dr. Strange's car accident was secretly created by Ancient One in many parallel universes in order to make Dr. Stephen Strange lose his status in the world, and to sharpen his mentality because of this gap. And finally she stood up again and accepted Dr. Stephen Strange as her apprentice. It can be said, in the final analysis, the birth of Dr. Strange was nothing more than a script that Sorcerer Supreme personally participated in. Without Sorcerer Supreme's intervention, Dr. Stephen Strange would not have been in that car accident. Dr. Stephen Strange will always be a top-notch doctor. Maybe at some point Stephen Strange will suddenly grow up, find a wife, get married and have children. Anyway, it is impossible to embark on the path of pursuing wife magic. Naturally, there is no opportunity to become the Sorcerer Supreme. Because of this, after the Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One died and disappeared from the entire timeline, the universe where Chu Mu lives, then there will be no Sorcerer Supreme to stand up to stop the evil heretics from the outer realm who are trying to enter this universe. And those evil heretics who have been coveting the earth of this universe for a long time can sense that the universe where Chu Mu is now is completely in a state of no existence. The existence of Sorcerer Supreme. Golden opportunity. How could Mephisto give up with so many dimensions? So, Mephisto is not just paying attention to the dimensions of the 7 deadly sins. Along with lust, one of the 7 deadly sins, Mephisto will send her younger brother in duplication into this universe to find out the intentions of the 7 deadly sins. Those dimension Mephistos who have been coveting this universe for a long time also want to take advantage of the time without the protection of the Sorcerer Supreme to play with the world and stuff their own little brothers in duplication at the minimum cost. Good chance. Everyone is very good at catching it. This is also the reason why the 5 gods of the universe are so annoyed now. Eternal's little brother has given up, so naturally Eternal has to pay some attention to those guys who are trying to sneak across the country, and the number of these guys who are trying to sneak across is. The level of craziness is far greater than when Sorcerer Supreme existed. No matter how good-tempered you are, you can't stand a swarm of mosquitoes and flies flying around your ears. Definitely. Before receiving instructions from the consciousness of the universe, Eternity has no authority to take action against those who attempt to sneak into the country. This is one of the reasons why the position of Sorcerer Supreme exists. Anyway, due to such complicated rules, for those stowaways, the 5 gods of the universe can only be out of sight and out of mind. In fact, he will never take action. It doesn't have any impact. After all, those multi-universe dimension Mephistos, even without the Sorcerer Supreme, would not be able to descend into the complete universe in their true form. After all, Dimension Mephisto's movement will be restricted. This kind of rule has nothing to do with the Sorcerer Supreme or the 5 gods of the universe. It is a rule set by the creator of the universe and the immediate superior of the 5 gods of the universe. The rule will not change due to the disappearance of Sorcerer Supreme. As for those who use loopholes to smuggle people into the country, they can only use duplication or send small soldiers, but they can't make any waves. This kind of impact is just like the border of the United States. The border wall has been stripped bare by stowaways, and the impact on the ecology inside the wall is not devastating. At best, there are just a few more terrorists. Definitely. For the powerful people in the Marvel Universe, the sudden increase in stowaways is an unbearable annoyance. And once the number of stowaways increases, although they are all small kalo rice that cannot make any waves, if the number increases, there is no guarantee that it will have some messy impact on the ecological environment of this universe. In fact, most powerful people in the Marvel Universe don't like the appearance of those stowaways, even if those stowaways are not trying to cause trouble. It's like the people of the United States don't like those stowaways. Security environment. Under the influence of these outsiders, there will be no small challenges. This will make those who are used to stability and want to pursue stability feel very bored. Them. He will be the scavenger who helps the 5 gods of the universe to eliminate these stowaways. This is also the reason why the 5 great gods of the universe face the stowaways so calmly. They know that if they wait for the gods to take action, the stowaways will inevitably be eliminated by other powerful people. Definitely. If the strong men in the universe cannot deal with some powerful stowaways, then as the 4 pillars of the Marvel Universe, the 4 cosmic gods, Annihilation, Infinity, Eternity, and Death, have another way to bypass their own limitations. A means of inflicting a devastating blow on stowaways. The method is also very simple. Close the door. Put Galactus. They will let the planet devourer solve those powerful hidden dangers. Although the planet devourer has the reputation of Marvel Cosmic Power Unit, it is undeniable that the planet devourer is powerful enough to deal with most crises in the universe. A skinny camel is bigger than a horse. Don't do it again. Planet Eater is also one of the pillars of the Marvel Universe. As long as the opponent's cheats are not particularly powerful, Planet Devourer can take care of them. When there are troubles that cannot be solved by many local strong men in the Marvel Universe, the 4 pillars of the universe will dispatch the 5th pillar, Planet Devourer, to solve those troubles. Unlike the 4 pillars that need to be restricted by the rules of the universe, the situation of Planet Devourer is rather special. He is not a concrete manifestation of some kind of power and law. Actually, Planet Devourer is not originally a name that simply refers to Uncle Ton of the 616 universe. For Planet Devourer, this identity is actually a profession, like existence. Not all Marvel universes exist forever, and there is also a certain universe lifespan. Therefore, when the lifespan of each universe finally comes to an end, the last creature in this universe will become the next generation of the new universe, the Planet Devourer. The so-called Planet Devourer. It is the life that survived to the end of the last cosmic epic. Yes. Planet Devourer is not a title, nor is it a name for a specific life form in the multi-universe. In countless universes, Planet Devourer is more like a profession. And as a career, the identity of Planet Devourer naturally has its own mission. He can be called one of the 5 great gods of the universe. Becoming the 5th pillar independent of the 4 pillars is because he has a more special role than the 5 gods of the universe, and it also has the responsibility of maintaining the healthy operation of the universe. Fans who are familiar with Planet Devourer know that in almost all parallel universes, for the profession of Planet Devourer, there is only one thing that a being in this profession needs to do: eat. It is necessary to find a planet with special life energy to eat. At first glance, this is a physiological behavior of the Planet Devourer, a process necessary for him to eat to maintain his life. However, in fact, this is the responsibility of the Planet Devourer. For every generation of Planet Eater, no matter what the reason is, there is a need to destroy the planet ball. The reason is that Planet Eater represents the balance of the universe. Yes. The purpose of eating planets is to maintain the balance of the universe. I think to explain this situation is actually a bit complicated. It should be said that it has the same underlying logic as Thanos snapping his fingers to destroy half of all life in the universe. If you want to understand the behavior of the Planet Devourer, then you have to understand a law in the universe. The law of entropy increase. Just like the theory in Thanos' mouth that as the population of the universe increases, more and more resources will be consumed, and eventually it will lead to destruction that the universe cannot afford. The law of entropy increase is also a law that makes countless scientists, and even many people who understand science in the universe, feel despair. It is the second law of thermodynamics. It is also a gospel of despair and destruction. The law of entropy increase holds that in a closed isolated system, heat always flows from high temperature to low temperature, from order to disorder, and this process is irreversible. Let's take some simple examples to understand the law of entropy increase. That is, a cup of boiling water will become colder if left alone. Water can only flow from high to low. Falling leaves will not turn into trees. Our mobile phones will become more and more expensive. The more stuck the clothes are, the older and older the clothes will be. These seemingly common sense situations are all due to the law of entropy increase. The reason why the law of entropy increase is like this is because the entropy increase is constantly increasing. In the absence of external energy transmission, the total chaos will become larger and larger. Therefore, the existence of the law of entropy increase. It means the end of all things. Whether it is the Earth, the universe, or intelligent life like humans, from a macro perspective, entropy increase is an irreversible process. Although the universe is vast, as time goes by, it will continue to become chaotic and eventually become hot. Lonely. This is the ultimate end of the universe. It is also the final chapter represented by Annihilation among the 5 gods of the universe. It is precisely because of the existence of the law of entropy increase that among the great gods of the universe, Annihilation is actually the most potential god. It is the ultimate embodiment of entropy increase, and has potential that far exceeds the other 4 gods. Definitely, the consciousness of the universe will naturally find ways to save itself before the destruction of the universe. This is why the profession, Planet Devourer, exists. He is responsible for eliminating the entropy increasing effect of the universe as much as possible and eating as many star areas as possible that increase the entropy increasing effect throughout the body. The law of entropy increase reveals the ultimate law of the evolution of all things. implying that human beings and other cosmic civilizations will eventually be destroyed, and the entire universe will eventually reach heat death. Annihilation among the 5 gods of the universe is waiting for the day to complete its mission. Definitely. Although the universe will eventually go to destruction, it is impossible to prevent the inevitable result, but it does not mean that it cannot delay the arrival of this day. Planet swallowing this is probably the mission of the author. Although from the perspective of the entire universe, entropy increase is irreversible and inevitable, but in a certain area, a small-scale entropy decrease can be achieved. All lives cannot change the final outcome of things, but they can delay the arrival of this day within a certain range. Just like some people leave this world at a young age, while some people are still alive when they are over 100 years old. In fact, even the human civilization where Chu-Mu lives has already predicted and thought about this. As early as 1943, the great physicist Schrödinger proposed a theory in his work. Life thrives on negentropy. Human beings live to fight against the law of entropy increase. Human beings continue to absorb material energy, continue to learn and obtain information, and constantly adjust their mentality. These are actually the vitality of life. When humans continue to do these things, driven by negative entropy, there will be an entropy reduction effect. How to say? The remarks of Schrödinger, the cat owner, still have some cosmic principles to some extent, although human beings and life in the universe are too small compared to the entire universe. But this theory is quite suitable for Planet Devourer. For the Marvel Universe, in the process of the ebb and flow of matter, the Planet Devourer is the one responsible for maintaining consumption. Every time he devours the stars of the universe, it represents an operation of helping the Marvel Universe complete an entropy reduction. In other words, it is equivalent to extending the time before the end of the world. Have to say, such is the duty of the Planet Devourer. Although he destroyed many universes with life, this kind of destruction was to extend the life of the universe. Sacrifice the few. Accomplish the majority. It's hard to say whether Planet Devourer's behavior can be regarded as a kind of justice. If you have to distinguish Planet Devourer's responsibilities, it can probably be regarded as a kind of trolley problem. What is the trolley problem? The trolley problem originally originated from a paper written by British philosopher Philippa Foot in 1967. After many years of iteration, it has become a classic philosophical problem. A tram runs on the railroad tracks. In the direction of the tram, 5 people were tied to the track and unable to move. The tram is about to run over their bodies. You can change the direction of the tram and let it go to another track by pulling the lever. But the problem is, there is also a person tied to the other track. Excuse me, what will you do at this time? Do nothing and let the tram crush these 5 people, or pull the lever and crush another person. This is a matter of benevolence and wisdom, whatever you choose. There is something wrong with everything. The situation in the universe is generally the same. For the people and planets who are sacrificed, they are certainly unwilling, but for those civilizations and planets that can get longer cosmic time, most of them will feel that it is worth it. So no one can tell whether it is right or wrong. Anyway, the cosmic consciousness of every universe chooses to breed a planet devourer, so from a macro perspective, his existence is also indispensable for the continuation of the universe. Recruitment of planet devourer. There won't be anything predetermined. No matter you are an alien, an earthling, Thanos or the Hulk, as long as you can live to the end of your own universe and become the last person to survive after the end of the universe, then you can become the planet devourer of the next cosmic era. It sounds like the planet devourer application requirements are a bit harsh, but in fact, the conditions for successfully applying for the profession of planet devourer depend more on luck. That's right. Becoming the strongest person in the universe does not qualify you to become the planet devourer. In fact, the strongest person in many universes may not be the lucky one who survives until the end of the era. In fact, many well-known characters in the Marvel universe who were active on Earth have once become the planet devourers of a certain universe due to luck. They may not be the strongest, but because luck is the best reason, it also has the fate of becoming a planet devourer. Well, the luck here can probably be read as popularity. Basically, in the universe before Chu-Mu traveled through, in the source world that created the Marvel universe and the DC universe, the more popular Marvel characters had all been planet swallowers. Chu-Mu also specially collected this series of journals, and among the stories that are more profound in Chu-Mu's memory, Hulk, who became the planet devourer, should be the most vivid in his memory. Yes, the Hulk really became the planet devourer. This should also be regarded as another strange evolutionary route of Hulk. It is even more powerful than the modified Hulk who broke into the Marvel universe where Chu-Mu is now, in addition to the planet devouring Galan, in the universe where Chu-Mu is located. in the previous Marvel Hulk branchline, Immortal Hulk, in the universe, the Hulk in the planet Devourer state has also been shown. In the parallel universe presented in this comic, Hulk became the last living body in the entire universe, and was transformed by cosmic consciousness into a planet Devourer in the New Generation universe. Cosmic consciousness is also called cosmic consciousness. It has different names, but the specific and substantial things it represents are the same. They are the highest authority in the entire universe. The universe originally needs its existence to be extended enough, so they will choose the most lucky people in the previous universe era to help them extend their existence. Therefore, the planet Devourer's actions in the universe also have enough special significance and rights. He can be said to be the most special existence among the 5 gods of the universe. The other 5 gods of the universe will still be subject to many restrictions, but as long as the planet Devourer feels that a certain situation is harmful to the existence of the entire universe, then the planet Devourer can have no restrictions. This is what the other 4 gods of the universe only need to encounter. The reason why he resorted to the strategy of close the door, release Galactus, when it was inconvenient for him to take action. And as for the strength of planet Devourer, as long as they don't encounter some particularly extreme situations, or special cases such as Thanos who has obtained the heart of the universe, any level single universe existence will basically not be an opponent of the planet Devourer. Are you going to let Galactus deal with him? Annihilation, infinity, eternity, the will of death. At the moment when facing the strange and transformed Hulk, they all look towards the planet Devourer. Planet Eater acts as a cosmic scavenger, just in the name of doing everything for the continuation of the universe. He will have no inhibitions. Cleaning up a transformed weird Hulk naturally does not require following the instructions of the cosmic consciousness like other pillars. Kill him to death, crush him to death. As someone who was woken up, Infinite is not usually very angry when he wakes up. Although I really want to see the moment when the universe ends, obviously. The final chapter I want to see will not be the final chapter formed under this Joker trend. Annihilation, who has always dreamed of the destruction of the universe, also doesn't take kindly to the weirdly transformed Hulk. This attitude is actually quite understandable. Just like people in most countries don't like stowaways. The same goes for the gods of the Marvel universe. The existence of cosmic stowaways has already made them feel disgusted. Compared with the transformed weird Hulk, those cosmic stowaways at least knew how to sneak in sneakily, and their behavior was obviously the bad behavior of the untransformed weird Hulk. How to describe it? The weirdly modified Hulk behaves like he's marching across the border with a gun. Although the transformed weird Hulk is not a powerful character, it will always make the Asgardians of the universe and the pillars of the universe that represent a part of the universe very unhappy. However, as a pillar, they just couldn't easily take action against the strange and transformed Hulk. This was also the reason why the ancient being in the mysterious dimension chose to transform the Hulk. As everyone knows, things from other universes enter the Marvel universe, and once their existence is exposed, they will become equivalent to viruses that invade a certain computer program. Then they are investigated and killed by the cosmic consciousness. This investigation may be carried out by the cosmic consciousness itself, or it may be driven by the cosmic consciousness to clean up. Any alien life that moves in the Marvel universe will be as conspicuous as fireflies, and will automatically be labeled as dangerous by the consciousness of the universe. As for whether to clean it up, it depends on the degree of danger on this label. Life from alien dimensions is always incompatible, but life like the Hulk is completely different. The Hulk originally exists in the Marvel universe. Although he comes from other parallel universes, Marvel at multiple levels allows life in parallel universes to go to other parallel universes. Therefore, the strange green beauty who was transformed did not originally not attracting the attention of the cosmic consciousness. How to understand it? The existence of the transformed weird Hulk was originally considered a backup in the Marvel universe, and he would naturally not be labeled as dangerous. After all, the strange green giant transformed by can be regarded as a local person with a residence permit. Compared with those stowaways, he will naturally be less concerned by the consciousness of the universe. I think we should wait. He has some special aura about him. Perhaps, we should keep watching him to see why he was sent to our universe. Planet Devourer's view is different from the other 4 pillars. Keeping an eye on this guy, we may be able to figure out why our universe has suddenly received so much attention. How to say? The planet Devourer, who has lost his mind due to hunger, can still be regarded as a quite intelligent existence. After all, he is the top scientist in the last cosmic era. Yes. Located in the Marvel universe where Chu Mu is located, among the inherent influences of many people, who have a single IQ and only know how to eat and eat. The planet devourer was actually a scientist. His name is Galan. Living in the 6th universe era. Tens of billions of years ago, Garland's universe entered a dying state. Eventually, the universe gradually shrank and became a cosmic egg. When the 6th universe was on the verge of destruction, Garland and his colleagues drove a spaceship into the cosmic egg that gave birth to the 7th universe, but in the end only Garland survived. It can be said that planet devourer has survived longer than the birth of the universe. He is the only life that survived in the previous universe. When the new cosmic era arrives, he is transformed into planet devourer by the new cosmic consciousness. Became Uncle Tun in the 7th universe era where Chu Mu is now. After the dying universe and Garland merged into one, Garland's body was filled with unknown energy. Many people may not understand what a universe egg is. Simply put, this is the egg that gave birth to the eternity, that symbolized one of the 5 gods of the universe before the birth of the new Marvel universe. Also in the setting, because planet devourer Garland was also conceived in it, this is also the reason why this generation of planet devourer regards eternity as a brother. They have all stayed in the same womb. For this reason, although the planet devourer Garland comes from the last universe era, he is still regarded as one of his own by eternity. How to say? There is also a certain philosophical thought in this, that is, in the case of reincarnation, whether you and your brothers and sisters are brothers and sisters. The answer to the question is in the eye of the beholder. Obviously, the answer on eternity's side is very definite. It may also be that eternity needs to use the power and wisdom of Garland, the planet devourer. Anyway, Garland, the planet devourer, is also an indispensable part of the 5 gods of the universe. In some cases, he is also the most intelligent and strategic being among the 5 gods of the universe. After all, according to the natural law of survival of the fittest, a civilization that can survive to the end of a cosmic era must also be a very top civilization, and it is not an exaggeration to call it a god-level civilization. Take a look at the technological means possessed by the top civilizations among the Trisolarans. The civilization of planet devourer Garland can last until the end of the last universe and has not been wiped out or annexed by other civilizations for countless years. Naturally, it is also the most top god-level civilization in the universe. The scientific and technological means they possess can, to a certain extent, reach the pinnacle of science and technology and want to become one of the last surviving scientists in such a civilization. One can imagine. Garland, the planet devourer, must also be one of the most intelligent. Among the top civilizations in the universe, it is naturally impossible for cats and dogs to be called scientists and experts. As the last surviving scientist of the last cosmic civilization, there is no doubt about the intelligence of planet devourer Garland. When Dormammu tried to use planet devourer, he also called it a scientific existence. Because of this, he is indeed more wise in some aspects than the views of other pillars. Demons, devils, Dimension Mephisto, their minions and duplication are all full of cunning, but this guy is different, he even has the blood of the devil. But after all, he is still the Hulk. Just stare at him, and we can get the answers we want. Planet devourer Gadam's view is indeed very reasonable. No matter how the Hulk changes, he is still the Hulk who sacrificed his IQ. Staring at the transformed weird Hulk, it is indeed easy to get the answer to the question, and let the 5 gods of the universe know why the dimensional Mephistos are eyeing their own world. What you said does make sense. Instead of just squeezing this guy to death, it's better to see what he wants to do. The guy behind him doesn't know what mission he was given. However, since it's just Hulk, he will surely reveal his purpose soon. Facing the proposal of Garland, the planet devourer, the other 4 pillars of the Marvel universe all looked at each other and nodded. For Hulk, is a multi-universe level existence. The other 4 pillars will definitely not feel unfamiliar. Many people think that the embodied existence of these 4 pillars of the universe in every universe are independent individuals. This is not the case. Just like the countless infinite gems in the multi-universe, they actually all come from unified individuals, such as multi-universe level pillars such as death, infinity, eternity and annihilation. Their existence can actually be regarded as multiple entities. The infinite individuals in the infinite universe are unified existences. It's just that they each have independent thinking in their respective universes. For most things in the known universe, in fact, they all know it. Therefore, naturally, it's impossible not to recognize Hulk's identity. In fact, even if they don't know it, they only need to link to the network of cosmic consciousness, and the omniscience and omnipotence under the link of cosmic consciousness can also find the archive, information about the Hulk in this universe. It is precisely because of the existence of archive information that the transformed Weird Hulk did not trigger the alarm mechanism of the cosmic consciousness even if he used forcible means to enter the cosmic barrier. I hope you can take an optimistic view of this guy and figure out their purpose of infiltrating our universe. If necessary, you need to take action to solve this trouble. As a big brother-like existence, Eternity also spoke in a deep voice to Garland, the planet devourer. His assessment of the risk of the strange green-eyed man being transformed did not count. The left and right are just the lives of a level single universe. You can crush it to death easily. What he is more concerned about is what dimension Mephisto is behind the strangely transformed Hulk, and why there are so many dimensions Mephisto is eyeing his own universe. To know. There are clearly countless parallel universes among the multi-level dimensions, but the Mephistos chose their own dimension in those dimensions. The Eternal Awakening told him that there must be a bad reason for this. However, restricted by his own mission and cosmic consciousness, Eternity was not able to personally check what happened. He could only make a plan for Garland, the planet devourer, to handle it. How to say? In the past, he would communicate with his loyal follower Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One when encountering such situations. If necessary, he would also send Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One to check or eliminate the threat. It's just that now the Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One has lost contact directly. Even Eternity, the god of the universe, can't find any trace of the Ancient One. Naturally, Eternity has lost its best subordinate. Where will the Ancient One go? Didn't this guy already vow to follow him forever? Although the level Godfather's strength is not enough in the face of Eternity, and there are also level Godfathers among his slaves, who makes the Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One so useful. Because of this. For the Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One who could not be contacted. In fact, Eternity is quite depressing, obviously. The demise of the Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One. There must be something strange and misty in it. Otherwise. Nor can even existence like Eternity be undetectable. Definitely, the subsequent impact of this incident has not yet been paid too much attention by Eternal. He was only slightly depressed, and then focused on the purpose of the Mephistos in the dimension. You can handle it, right? Eternal gaze looked in the direction of Garland, the planet devourer. Definitely. Planet devourer Garland's tone was very calm, constantly echoing in the boundless universe, but the goddess of death had some doubts about his answer. Do you need Annihilation to arrange some food for you to replenish your energy? The incarnation of the goddess of deaths will beat the planet devourer Galan, who is now only slightly larger than a planet. She felt that the strength of planet devourer Garland had probably reached a low point again. In fact, everyone was already used to this situation. I will arrange a big planet for you, full of life. Annihilation also thinks that the purpose of the dimensional Mephistos is slightly more important, and is not stingy about letting go of some constraints on the planet devourer Garland. How to say? Under normal circumstances, the strength of planet devourer Garland is limited. Eternity, infinity, death, and annihilation are all multi-universe level existences, and planet devourer can only destroy planets most of the time. This is mainly because the rules of the universe need to limit his strength. After all, the reason for the existence of planet devourer Garland is only to slow down the decay time of the universe, rather than to eat up the universe. Naturally, he can only eat it slowly. Occasionally eat meat. Just make sure you don't starve to death. Otherwise, even according to the vastness of the universe, it probably won't be able to withstand the endless devouring of Garland, the planet devourer. To know. As a multi-universe level planet devourer, Garland. If he lets go of the restrictions, being able to eat something is definitely not a situation that the universe can bear. The universe just wants to slow down its own demise, but it is not suitable for wanting to let itself be eaten up in advance. Once. In some parallel dimension, planet devourer Garland once had no restrictions. The Marvel Universe and the major demon kings have been fighting in the magical dimension for hundreds of millions of years. However, I don't know which smart demon came up with the crooked idea of using the power of the planet devourer. Ever since, the magic dimension directly ushered in a catastrophe. It was also during this incident. Planet devourer once again ushered in the peak of his life. He feasted in the magical dimension, becoming stronger and stronger. In the end, even Dormammu who tried to control him was completely devoured. Even the real demon king Mephitos was helpless. Doctor Strange gathered heroes to try to defeat the planet devourer. However, without exception, all failed. The fluctuations caused by this battle almost destroyed which parallel universe. Garland, the planet devourer, who possesses such devouring ability, would naturally not be unrestricted in a normal universe, Otherwise, the entire universe would not be able to withstand his torment. In order to ensure that planet devourer Garland does not lose control, he almost always has to be in a state of starvation, and will only let go of some of his restrictions under certain circumstances. Such as now. Good. Being able to have something to eat to satisfy one's insatiable appetite. Planet devourer Garland will never let him go. In fact, the reason why he took the initiative to take on this kind of job was actually just to have a bite to eat. A mouth. Have to say, planet devourer is a profession. It is definitely the most miserable profession in countless universes. Seemingly tall. However, in fact, behind this greatness, there is also unspeakable fatigue and suffering. For example, Garland, the planet devourer, has to endure the hunger that will never go away. However, for the balance of the universe, he can only bear this hunger under the restrictions of the rules. And the level of hunger, it will also determine his actual 1, 2, 3 power file size. This characteristic makes Planet Devourer the cosmic god with the highest appearance rate in Marvel Comics, and without exception, he has also become the cosmic god with the most fights. After all, although boss-level cosmic gods like Eternity have failed, they can only be defeated by multi-universe level or stronger villains. But Planet Devourer is different. He is even often defeated by mortals for no apparent reason, but he has been defeated many times on Earth. No one could have expected how shocking the lower limit of strength caused by Planet Devourer plus half starvation would be. Hungry enough. The strength will be low enough. Under the influence of this characteristic, as the being with the highest appearance rate among the gods in the universe, it is not surprising that Garland, the Planet Devourer, has fought more times than other gods. At least 8 out of 10 times Garland, the Planet Devourer, ended up being defeated. It really couldn't be more miserable. One thing to say. The reasons why he sometimes rushes into the street are also very strange. For example, he was turned into a figure by the cable, and was reflected into the universe by the cable like a grey wolf. Such a disappointing ending. It is true that the cards do not correspond to the 5 gods of the universe. Not only that, in some parallel universes, Garland the Planet Devourer was also eaten by zombies. Yes. The Big Eater was even used as food by others. Weird enough, right? Planet Devourer Garland has even become a battery, and more than once, Planet Devourer has the ability to convert any matter into energy. This allows Uncle Ton to replenish his own energy by eating planets. It is for this reason. He was also used as a large power bank by Doctor Doom in the Annihilation Zerg. Full of dark history, it's still Doctor Doom's side. Doctor Who Moman even turned Garland the Devourer into a pet. In some parallel universe, Dr. Destruction stole the power beyond the gods and became the god Lord Doom. At that time, Dr. Destruction had nearly omnipotent power, and both the Infinity Gauntlet and Phoenix Force could only be killed instantly. So Dr. Doom redefined the universe and created his own domain world. And in this changing world, the invincible Garland the Planet Devourer was set to be the gatekeeper pet of Dr. Doom's house. I have to say that the weird things that happened to Garland the Planet Devourer were really so much so. The cosmic god of the universe. It simply became a unit of measurement for Marvel. In the source universe before Chu-Mu traveled through. Most people involved in the universe like to target Garland, the Planet Eater. For example, when Thanos was collecting infinite gems, he killed Garland, the Devourer of Planets. Many villains would immediately take the Garland, the Devourer of Planets flag when they want to do something big. How to say? The reason why Planet Devourer Galan is called the most embarrassing god is because his strength is not weak, but he has been defeated too many times compared with other gods of the universe, and the reasons for his defeat are all kinds of. Garland, the Planet Devourer, has tried almost all of the weird fighting methods. Definitely, it is precisely because of so many street attacks that Garland, the Planet Devourer, has gained extraordinary popularity. Of all the gods of the universe, Garland the Planet Devourer is definitely the most popular. After all, although gods such as Eternity and the Celestials are very strong, they do not have the down-to-earth feeling of Garland the Planet Devourer. Possibly with other cosmic gods as well. It has something to do with not having a beautiful daughter like Planet Devourer Garland. Although for Uncle Ton, he has always been the power unit of the Marvel Universe. Every day he is either busy looking for food or busy being beaten. But for Uncle Ton's weakness, the Marvel Universe has not marginalized his presence. On the contrary, many major events have the figure of Garland, the Planet Devourer. And all this, in addition to his high appearance rate and his frequent attacks on the street, which are very funny and surprising, it is also because Planet Devourer Garland has a background that is obviously different from other gods in the universe. That is, he has a daughter. Still a beautiful daughter. This is obviously completely different from the pillars of the other 5 gods of the universe. Definitely. This does not mean that the other 5 gods of the universe do not have heirs. In fact, in a world like the Marvel Universe, reproduction and inheritance are actually the main themes, and they are the keynote written into the underlying logic of the development and operation of the universe. Because of this, not just the cosmic gods such as Asgard or the giants of Jotunheim, or the cosmic gods like the Olympian gods, but also the indigenous gods that only exist on the earth. These life races with the power of law will be reproduced and inherited throughout the entire history of the race. No way. If you want to wear a crown, you must bear its weight. Since you have enjoyed rights and life forms that are completely ahead of other races since birth, you naturally have to pay a part of the price. That is to use the destiny of one's own race to reflect the arrangement of the universe. Just take a look at the fate of Asgard. Both Odin's father and Odin have troubles about family, especially Ragnarok of the entire Asgard clan. In the final analysis, it is inseparable from their family and inheritance. The same goes for other gods. Basically, destiny is affected by this tone. One can imagine. In the underlying logic of the development and operation of the Marvel Universe, reproduction and inheritance must play a large role. Not only the gods and the civilizations living in the universe will be troubled by this, even those as powerful as the pillars of the universe in the incarnation of law. This will also happen to the 5 great gods of the universe. Because of the cosmic egg. The 5 gods of the universe were all conceived through cosmic eggs, so they have an intricate brother-sister relationship. It can be said that the 5 gods all came from the same source. Not only that, they also have the mission and ability to reproduce offspring. Although they currently represent the embodiment of death rules and have not yet had their own children, they have the embodiment of super ancient laws such as eternal annihilation. He already has his own heirs. As everyone knows, throughout the Marvel Universe. In addition to these 5, there are also some other secondary gods or higher level gods. Among the secondary gods, there are descendants of each of these 5 gods. In fact, the number of descendants of the 5 great gods of the universe and the descendants of these descendants is quite large. After all, after a dynasty has developed for hundreds of years and thousands of years, the number of royal descendants can be counted in the tens of thousands, such as the gods of the universe. With a long existence, the number of descendants and descendants will naturally be greater. Definitely. As the bloodline is diluted, the more iterations of descendants, the lower level life forms they can possess. Not every generation of descendants can become secondary gods. Some descendants with many iterations are actually no different from ordinary lives, except that they may have some useful little means. Not even close to the mutants on Earth, no way. After all, mutant can be regarded as the sun project of the celestial group. It has higher potential than some descendants of gods with thin blood, so it is naturally not something difficult to understand. Regardless of the potential, the body always has the inherited characteristics of the 5 gods of the universe. So, in the starry sky of the universe, it is indeed full of eternity and annihilation and infinite descendants, but these descendants are different from the beautiful and perfect daughter of Galactus. Most of them are odd species. Especially the descendants of eternity and annihilation, it can be said that they are all strange-looking and strange-looking species. Not to mention their poor appearance, some of them even have more than 2 hands and 2 legs. One can imagine. Their offspring clearly don't fit the mold of Chu-Mu and most Marvel fans. Therefore, although the children of the 5 gods in the Marvel Universe have been born a long time ago, many people do not know that these 5 gods actually have children, and these children do not have a good relationship with their parents after they appear. In addition, these children were not favored by fate, so naturally they did not participate in many major events. Definitely. Among them, only the daughter of planet Devourer is an exception. Beautiful after all. The advantage of beauty is the same as ability, so among the 5 gods of the universe, only the daughter of planet Devourer Garland is the most popular. Not to mention comparing it with the strange offspring of other universe gods, even comparing it with the perfect goddess, the daughter of planet Devourer Garland is no less impressive. Alright. The daughter of Garland, the planet Devourer, was originally a god of the universe. She was actually a goddess, but she did not control some of the basic laws of the universe. Planet Devourer Garland is honored as Uncle Tun by fans. In addition to being a down-to-earth member of the 5 major gods in the universe and being very active in major events in the Marvel Universe, there is definitely a reason why he is his daughter. How many fans want to experience the experience of swallowing your uncle and then your father? Most Marvel fans are old-school fans. Naturally, he is drooling over the daughter of planet Devourer Garland. In Marvel's setting, Uncle Tun's daughter is named Ganada. In terms of positioning, she is not the daughter adopted by Uncle Tun in the later period, but the daughter born from Uncle Wei's body. As for the question of who the wife of planet devourer Garland is, it doesn't make much sense. Mashi, the god of the universe. Although it follows the main theme of reproduction and development in the Marvel universe, the body structure will definitely be more or less different from real humans and other life forms. Although Garland, the planet devourer, is not the embodiment of law, he also possesses an ability that most races cannot possess. That is, being able to give birth to a child by yourself. Yes, that's right, even among the gods of the universe, this ability can be regarded as a very common ability. For example, if the gods of the universe who are embodied in laws want to give birth to their own children, even if they do not need a significant other, they still need to interact with other laws. As the last survivor of the last universe era, Garland, the planet devourer, does not need to do this at all. He has the ability to give birth to children by himself. Definitely. Although this kind of ability is placed on the body of the god of the universe, it seems to be just a useless ability that has no meaning and does not add any combat power to itself. But to be honest, this kind of ability is placed on Chu Mu in the universe before time travel. There was definitely an ability that countless people dreamed of. There is no need to find a partner to lower one's income and living standards, and there is no need to give any gifts or houses. Definitely the partner that countless boys in the universe dreamed of before the ban on animal husbandry and cross-country. It's imaginable. How harmonious would it be to live without being warned about having children? Ahem. I accidentally went too far. It raises the ultimate question beyond the scope of the Marvel universe. Back to business. Planet devourer Galan has the ability to give birth to his own children. His daughter Ganada's appearance is among the best in the universe and she should be considered an outstanding beauty. After all, Garland the planet devourer actually looks pretty good too. As the last survivor of the last cosmic era and a scientist living in a god-level civilization, Garland the planet devourer's genes must have been perfectly debugged long ago, so the offspring's genes are naturally relatively perfect. In terms of appearance, Ganada, the daughter of planet devourer Galan, is definitely not bad. Definitely. After all, Ganada, the daughter of planet devourer Galan, is only a secondary god, so her strength can only barely reach level single universe. And because Ganada, the daughter of planet devourer Galan, has no ability in fighting, so in the field of secondary gods, the strength of planet devourer Galan's daughter Nada is actually quite limited, and she probably belongs to that category. A life that can crush level godfather below level single universe. But facing beings of the same level, they can only grease the soles of their feet and run away. When it comes to rubbing the soles of their feet, Ganada, the daughter of planet devourer Garland, is definitely a professional. After all, planet devourer Garland is one of the 5 gods in the universe, so he naturally leaves many life-saving means for his only descendant. How to say? In fact, the potential of Ganada, the daughter of planet devourer Galan, is not weak. Like planet devourer Garland, she has the ability to devour everything. She can probably be regarded as a reserve member of the planet devourer profession. If something unexpected happens to planet devourer Galan, planet devourer Galan's daughter Nada may become the next planet devourer directly appointed by the consciousness of the universe. Because of this, has multi-universe level potential. Place it in the Marvel universe. It can definitely be regarded as exceeding almost 99% of level single universe lives. It's just that she doesn't like fighting, so Ganada, the half-daughter of planet devourer, is not very good at fighting. Definitely. It is precisely because it is only a reserve force. So compared to Garland the planet devourer who is never satisfied, Garland the planet devourer's daughter is much better at enduring hunger. As we all know, planet devourer is a god with endless hunger, and his hunger cannot be solved by eating ordinary food, but by eating those living planets to replenish energy, so for planet devourer, it's never possible to have enough. This is actually a kind of torture, hard to restrain. Instead of having to shoulder the mission of delaying the decline of the universe, Ganada, the daughter of planet devourer Galan, naturally has to endure less hunger than planet devourer Galan. And Ganada, the daughter of planet devourer Galan, also has good self-control. Judging from the situation of Uncle Marvel's level, the energy units he eats are basically planet stars, but for Nada, they can be refined to the energy extraction of a bacterium. Because of this, she would not eat anyone out of hunger, nor would she eat anything other than normal food, although she had once thought of keeping Wolverine in captivity as a food reserve. But because of her fondness for the Earth and her persistence in controlling her food intake as a female individual, Ganada, the daughter of planet devourer Galan, has never actually eaten a human being, In this regard, he is much more lovable than her father, who opened his mouth to see an entire planet's beings. Regarding the fact that planet devourer Garland has a daughter, the other 5 gods of the universe also know it. Garland, your daughter is also on Earth. Go to Earth to keep an eye on her, and you can have a good chat with your daughter. The incarnation of death looked at Garland, the planet devourer, and her current will right on the Earth. It was natural to notice where Nada, the daughter of planet devourer Garland, was. The Earth is now being targeted by Mephisto from so many dimensions. It belongs to a place of right and wrong. I will tell her to leave immediately. Garland, the planet devourer, is also particularly concerned about his daughter. Because of this, after discovering that the transformed strange Hulk and the minions of Mephisto in the dimension were all destined for the Earth, planet devourer was also very worried about the safety of his daughter. You really dote on your child. Death's tone had a strange tone, and I couldn't explain why. I'm afraid she won't listen to you. Your relationship has never been very good. As another female image, Infinite is not optimistic about planet devourer Garen's persuasion to his daughter. Does she know that planet devourer Garen's daughter Ganada is now in adolescence? Yes. The gods of the universe definitely have their rebellious moments. This is not a problem that you should be concerned about. Fulfill your responsibilities. Planet devourer Garen whispered, and his body floated deep into the starry sky. He will eat first. Return to Earth after recovering some strength. That way, if you encounter an emergency, you will be more confident in dealing with it. In fact, the strength of planet devourer Garland is not weak. As a planet devourer, even if he is about to starve to death, he still has star-destroying power. After all, it is impossible without the power to destroy planets. Otherwise, can't even eat. He must have starved to death long ago. Therefore, although planet devourer Galan is in a state of hunger most of the time, claiming to be either eating or on the way to eat, even in the most hungry state, planet devourer Galan can still destroy a planet very easily. At least they all have the strength of level Godfather. That's why most civilizations in the universe have no ability to resist planet devourer, and regard planet devourer Garen as an irresistible natural disaster in the universe. In a state of normal hunger, the planet devourer can easily lift the weight of several galaxies, and can use his huge amounts of power to increase his own strength, and can also use huge amounts of energy in his body to exert unlimited power. Countless various effects. This reaches the level single universe. There are 3 major cosmic empires in the Marvel universe, namely Sheer, Kree, and Skrull. Among them, the Kree Empire can be said to be the overlord of the universe in this cosmic era. The strength of the Skrull Empire is not weaker than that of the Kree Empire, but even so, the Skrull Empire has no ability to resist when facing Garland, the planet devourer. The Skrull home planet was destroyed by Garland, the planet devourer. The existence of Garland, the planet devourer, makes even the Skrulls change their colors when they hear his name even after many years. In certain events, Doctor Strange only used illusions to show the heroic appearance of Garland, the devourer of planets, and the Skrull fleet was frightened into chaos and scrambled to escape. One can imagine how terrifying is the reputation of planet devourer Garland. Hungry state. In fact, it can also crush ordinary gods. For example, Odin is no match for Garland, the planet devourer. Odin once gathered the power of all the Asgardians to fight against Garland the planet devourer. As a result, Garland the planet devourer did not suffer any substantial damage, but Odin lost his combat effectiveness due to his duel with Garland the planet devourer. To know, Odin once defeated Surta, the fire giant in his prime. So, even if hunger brings infinite weakness. But the strength of planet devourer Garland is really not weak. However, when facing the dimension Mephisto, planet devourer Garland also knows that he needs to deal with it carefully. I want a planet of huge amounts. After all, I've been on the streets many times. Planet devourer Garland is also extremely cautious. He wants assurance. He must at least return to the level of the peak of the single universe before he can do anything. Garland, the planet devourer, made a rare request of his own. I can tell. He attaches great importance to the hidden dangers that arise in the universe this time, and knows how cautiously he should deal with them. After all, it involves Mephisto from multiple dimensions outside the universe. You can never be too careful. If you want to eat a big planet, you have quite a big appetite. In front of Garland, the planet devourer, Annihilation appeared. He looked like a mist, erratic, containing infinite silence. 9. Just watching. It is enough to cause many low-level lives to go directly to destruction. Even if the existence of level Godfather comes, it is estimated that it will be affected a lot. In case. Planet Devourer Garland's voice was low and he didn't speak much. Although his strength has declined due to hunger, he will not be affected by watching Annihilation. How to say? After all, although the performance of power may fluctuate, the life level of Planet Devourer Garland has not decreased. He is still a multi-universe level life. Same level as Annihilation, and they are brothers from the same origin. Naturally, he will not be affected by the aura that Annihilation emits at any time. Okay. Even if your reason is right this time. After all, we all hate those stinky extraterritorial demons. Annihilation did not bargain with Garland, the planet devourer. He hates those dimension Mephistos who covet the Marvel universe more than any other cosmic god. After all, the destruction Mephistos want to cause in those dimensions will have the greatest impact on him. Marvel universe. Annihilation must be achieved in his hands. How to put it this way, it's not considered the overlord character. Strictly speaking, Annihilation should be considered a stakeholder. Where is the planet you prepared? The planet devourer looked at Annihilation, his eyes revealing desire. Although swallowing the planet can only relieve hunger, even if it only relieves him, it can give him some relief for a while. There. Annihilation pointed out a direction to Garland the planet devourer, and then watched Garland the planet devourer float into the distance. He did not need to follow Garland the planet devourer through the starry sky. He is the embodiment of the law of the universe. As long as it is not a place that has special restrictions or is affected by special laws, he can reach every square inch of the star field in the universe with a single thought. Wrong. The description of arrival is obviously not appropriate. It should be said that Annihilation is everywhere. It is an original part of the universe, so there is no limit to distance. He has no physical existence. Annihilation is the most powerful existence among Marvel's 5 entities that were born with the beginning of the universe. He can use any powerful cosmic power within the multi-universe and control all non-existences. It is also capable of manipulating all incorporeal matter. It can even create and control all existences that have been erased and eliminated. It's a little hard to understand, right? This is the power of Annihilation. Annihilation can also create, destroy, manipulate and change all time and space axes in the multi-universe at will. That is, all time axes and space dimensions, such as turning the 3-dimensional universe into infinite and infinite dimensions, and then turning the space of infinite and infinite dimensions into 3 dimensions. It is probably equivalent to the dimensional weapon among the 3 bodies. This is the authority of Annihilation, he if the reason. It can even destroy everything in the multi-universe, even the original universe, so that not even a single quark is left, causing the entire universe to disappear completely. Saying that Annihilation is the end of the universe is just a true introduction to him, rather than just attaching many names to himself like the other existences. How high is the potential for Annihilation? Like the Phoenix Force, he is one of several beings in the Marvel multi-universe who can create, manipulate, and change the cause and effect of the entire multi-universe. At the same time, Annihilation is also one of the few people in the multi-universe to whom the laws of causality and supercausality are ineffective. Well, nowadays Chu-Mu can probably be regarded as an existence with this characteristic. Very rare. Extremely rare, simply put. Even if it is not just the potential of the god of the universe, but also other bug-level characters, there must be a place for Annihilation among the ranks with the strongest potential in the Marvel universe. Annihilation's ability is to ignore all universe rules. He can use all the other powers of level universe to control all the impossible and become possible. For him, everything is possible if he wants it. He can destroy the universe at will, just as easily as squeezing an ant to death. He can control the timeline at will and modify everything on the timeline at will. Definitely. Because he shoulders the mission of the god of the universe, and he is focused on the final result, he will also abide by the rules that the god of the universe needs to abide by. But, because of its own potential, so, Annihilation is actually the most narcissistic among the 5 gods of the universe. Annihilation once said that it is the void in the universe, the breath between death and nirvana in life and death. To those who ask about his origin, it means that he is the void from which all things originate. The form of Annihilation seen by all living beings and the throne at the feet of his Annihilation are just illusions. No one can see my true form, just like no one can recite my true name. This is because everything you have is nothingness created by my grace. Everything is just a dream of mine. Have to say. Annihilation is a culmination of this pretense. It is definitely a stitched monster that combines an emperor who is unwilling to reveal his life and the founding god of Cthulhu. The blind and foolish god, Azathoth, who compares himself to the three pillars of Cthulhu, the god of creation and the ruler, tells others that he is chaos at the beginning of the universe. The narcissistic complex of Annihilation can be it is conceivable that he definitely has the capital to be narcissistic. After all, when the universe is destroyed, he will become the strongest by devouring everything. Definitely. To complete such an evolution, it is still necessary for the Marvel Universe to go to death under the witness of Annihilation. And there cannot be Mephisto, the outer dimension, to take a share of the pie. Because of this, Annihilation hates Mephisto, the dimension of the outer world. After all, compared to the existence of the other 5 gods in the universe, Annihilation should be regarded as the biggest beneficiary of the interests. Naturally, he cannot tolerate others coming to share the cake with him. Dimension Mephisto? I'll crawl a little further at the end. Marvel Universe. It has always been to annihilate what one considers to be private property. He is waiting for the old age and death of the Marvel Universe, and then accepts the gift of end and annihilation. The destruction of this universe does not just refer to the destruction of a single universe. It also refers to the end of the multiple levels of the Marvel Universe. Yes, just like a single universe has changes in eras, multi-universe naturally has a certain duration. The so-called true eternity, truly immortal. Wong. The Marvel Universe and most worlds do not exist. The truth revealed by the law of quotient and increase is just that the process of such destruction is extremely long. Multi-universe life cycle. It is probably a span that most lives will never witness. Nothing is truly immortal. The same goes for God's lifespan. Even OAA. There will also be a day when it will end. Some people have even had the wild idea that OAA might be the planet devourer, above the Marvel multi-universe level. What does that mean? That is to say, many people think that OAA, the creator god, does not just have the identity in the Marvel background introduction. He is also the only survivor in a broader dimension beyond the scope of Marvel multi-universe. It is for this reason he created today's Marvel multi-universe. Have to say, this guess is also very creative. But what is the reality? In fact, it is also unknown. But Annihilation is a relatively optimistic supporter of this theory. Definitely, Annihilation has never expressed its thoughts in front of any being. Let's hope he doesn't screw it up. After Annihilation found a civilization he didn't like and threw it to Planet Devourer, he silently watched Planet Devourer go to its destination. In the universe, everything changes rapidly. All under his gaze. And choosing who goes to destruction, this is the responsibility given to Annihilation by the consciousness of the universe. In the ethereal universe, the Planet Devourer travels through the universe at a speed beyond the reach of countless civilizations. Guided by Annihilation, he is about to deliver a rare meal to a galaxy. It is foreseeable that countless lives will inevitably perish as that meal progresses. No one can explain whether Planet Devourer Garland's actions are right or wrong. As mentioned before, it is Planet Devourer Garland's mission to swallow planets and delay the decline of the universe. To gain enough energy by devouring planets and then protecting the stability of the universe is also the responsibility of Garland, the Planet Devourer, as one of the 5 gods of the universe. Perhaps. Just like what is said in the 3-body novel, there is nothing right or wrong for higher civilizations to destroy lower civilizations, and the judgment of Planet Devourer Garland has nothing to do with life on the planet. Destroy you. What does it have to do with you? This is the cruel truth among the stars. It is also a necessary sacrifice. I hope the energy of a planet is enough for me to deal with those minions. Garland, the Planet Devourer, is very cautious and brave. He can have such a cautious character, and we all know why he feels that it is not safe to go to a remote Earth with the strength of level single universe. Anyone who has overturned a lot will have such a cautious character. As everyone knows, the Planet Devourer is often defeated by beings weaker than itself. Whether it's a superhero, a supervillain, or just a character who comes out to do some side jobs, he may be the one to defeat the Planet Devourer. As long as the Planet Devourer appears on the stage. So, no one knows what kind of weird character Planet Devourer will be defeated by, and why he will give away a big gift package after Newbie's coaxing appearance. The only thing that can be certain is that no matter how big the card is when Garland the Planet Devourer appears, his failure seems to be doomed to a certain extent. Truth is metaphysics. Definitely. There's definitely some science in it, too. Eternity, infinity, death, and annihilation are all multi-universe level existences, and the Planet Devourer can only achieve planet-destroying level combat power most of the time. This is mainly because the rules of the universe restrict him, so that he can only eat slowly to ensure that he does not starve to death. the duty given to him by the universe is to devour planets, which causes planet devourer to be in a state of hunger for a long time. Although he is the creator god, his strength is n times weaker than his peers. Because of this, to a certain extent, the strength of planet devourer Garland is like Schrodinger's cat. No one can tell when and what state planet devourer Garland's strength will be. This characteristic makes planet devourer the cosmic god with the highest appearance rate in Marvel Comics, and also the cosmic god with the most fights, even in the universe before Chu-Mu traveled through. When the movie was producing Marvel stories, it did not forget to tease this characteristic of Garland, the planet devourer. As everyone knows, in addition to being an ancient remnant, the biggest characteristic of the planet devourer is that he likes to have younger brothers. Among them, Silver Surfer is the most loved and most famous messenger of planet devourer. How much does Uncle Tun love the Silver Surfer? When the Silver Surfer asked Uncle Tun to give him his freedom, Uncle Tun was not too angry. He just banished him to the earth and confiscated part of his abilities. It can be said, the Silver Surfer should be regarded as a direct subordinate of Planet Eater Garland, right? But due to this status, Planet Eater Garland died at the hands of the Silver Surfer in Fantastic Four 2. He was blown up by the self-destruction of his messenger Silver Surfer, and the Easter egg at the end of the film showed that Silver Surfer just fainted. Normal people would definitely feel hungry when seeing this situation, which is very unreasonable. The majestic god of the universe. One of the 5 pillars of the Marvel Universe. A supreme existence at the multi-universe level. Result: that he was killed by his own ant-like existence? This is simply ridiculous. What? The god of the universe who was killed, the name of the supreme being is Planet Devourer. Okay. Then it's fine, it makes sense. This wave is very consistent with the character of Planet Devourer Garland. Supreme being. The god of the universe was killed by little Kayla Rice. This is very unreasonable. But, if the supreme being of the god of the universe is Garland the Planet Devourer, then for Marvel fans, it is definitely a reasonable development. This is obviously a character that the film production company knows well about the Marvel Universe. Garland, the Planet Devourer, appears. Is there any reason not to rush into the streets? Don't rush to the street. That's unscientific. Most people have such an inherent understanding of Planet Devourer Garland. How can I put it? In fact, this does not blame Planet Devourer Garland for his bad luck or lack of strength. You still have to blame Chu-Mu. Before Chu-Mu's time travel, the company that created the Marvel Universe in the Source Universe, the main reason why Planet Devourer Garland was always on the street was because Marvel didn't have many well-known Overlord villains, and some of the villains were the strength is too strong to be defeated by superheroes. For example, Ceterak is an invincible in terms of setting, a Crimson Master who controls an almost complete universe. Even if the superheroes cheat, they will definitely not be able to defeat him. Maybe. Not even the superheroes on Earth can stand up to his duplication. Therefore, when searching among all the characters, Planet Devourer is a very good choice. He has very powerful power, but he often forgets to use it. Only by swallowing planets can he restore his energy. His consciousness is huge but his reactions are very slow. This is simply a natural target, so, even in some Marvel games, the Planet Devourer still appears as the final boss. To some extent, stand in the shoes of the Earth. Planet Eater is definitely the most suitable character to be brought out and defeated by superheroes. Actually, at the very beginning, the era of the Fantastic Four, Garland, the Planet Devourer, is still full of character. You can imagine that when the Earth was still mutating due to radiation, an Overlord-level existence that used planets as food appeared in the universe. What would happen to the Earth? How powerful is the pressure? That time. If you want to kill Garland, the Planet Eater, you need the ultimate eraser, who can erase the entire reality to fight against him. Therefore, the Planet Eater was the Unicron in the Marvel Universe at that time. The true Overlord of the universe, however. As the worldview of the Marvel Universe unfolds, more and stronger beings are revealed. The status of Planet Devourer has naturally dropped significantly. Although he is still defiant in the setting, his special circumstances have made him suffer a lot in many events. Uncle Tun, who knows he is full, is really strong, but the problem is that Planet Devourer cannot be full at all. This is the limitation of the universe consciousness on Planet Devourer land. And, even for Garland, the Planet Devourer, star explosion is easy for him because he is hungry, but he is often defeated by some guys who cannot even reach the star explosion strength. The reason? Or is it because Planet Devourer Galan is actually not good at fighting? If you analyze the background of Planet Devourer Garland in detail, you will find that he is essentially an ordinary person. Even for scientists of the terminal civilization, fighting is obviously not their specialty, so they naturally have no fighting ability. After all, for the existence of this kind of civilization, the professions are set from birth. How can Garland, the planet devourer, be good at fighting when his starting setting is a scientist? It is precisely for this reason. Ganada, who inherited the genes of Galan the planet devourer, is also very bad at fighting. This is the case. It is natural that Garland, the planet devourer, is often defeated. Definitely, facing ordinary civilization, planet devourer Garland is still at a crushing level. After all, even if he is not good at fighting, he is still a behemoth that feeds on the planet. Without the hanging dog, Garland the planet devourer would be a natural disaster for most civilizations. This planet looks very delicious. Garland, the planet eater, arrives at the planet of life that Annihilation has prepared for him. Feeling the quality of this planet and the rich breath of life on the entire planet, he immediately took out his tableware from the dimension. Eat. Start immediately. Garland the planet devourer definitely has his own cutlery. Many people may think that the process of devouring planets by planet devourer Garland is just a simple process of pinching the planets with his huge palms and stuffing them into his mouth. However, this is not actually the case. Although planet devourer Garland can indeed devour planets in this way, it is just like the human eating process. If you just supplement nutrition through the simplest way of eating, then a lot of nutrients are bound to be wasted. Therefore, the most effective way to eat is to directly absorb the nutrients your body needs, such as infusion or eating nutrients. This way the efficiency of the body's absorption of nutrients will be greatly improved. The eating process of planet devourer Galan is the same. If planet devourer Galan simply eats the planet, then although planet devourer Galan can still obtain energy supplement, such eating will also cause most of the diseases. The energy flow doctor will not be absorbed by him. Although he can absorb these energies himself, he usually uses a highly sophisticated energy siphon to absorb and convert the energy for him. For Garland, the planet devourer, every bit of energy is precious, but eating the planet roughly is too much of a waste of the few eating opportunities. After all, due to the limitations of the universe's consciousness, planet devourer Garland can only eat one relatively small planet every month, which is barely enough to maintain a state of starvation. Under such conditions, planet devourer Garland naturally understands what every particle is hard work. Therefore, planet devourer Garland will use some tools to devour planets. This kind of tool is his tableware. No, after arriving at the huge planet that Annihilation chose for himself, planet devourer Garland felt a star card rich in life energy, and he couldn't wait to take out his own. The tableware is a super technological creation called an energy siphon. On weekdays, it is usually placed on planet devourer Garland's spaceship, but when he wants to enjoy the planet, planet devourer Garland will also take it off the spacecraft. I can't wait. Garland the planet devourer began to debug the energy siphon. This is the best tableware that allows Garland the planet devourer to avoid wasting the planet's energy. Especially for such a rare feast now, planet devourer Garland does not want to waste it. If he can completely absorb the life energy of the entire planet, planet devourer Garland feels that he will not feel any pain for at least 10 days and a half. When hungry, this kind of treatment can only be encountered when the universe consciousness needs him to do something. It's equivalent to at least 20 of the planets I eat every month. Garland, the planet devourer, looked at the planet in front of him. The beautiful planet as green as trees was reflected in his eyes. The population on the entire planet was not that big. It's not a lot, but the life energy aura on the entire planet is extremely rich. Yes. There is no necessary connection between life energy breath and population. The planet devourer needs to obtain mysterious life energy from a specific planet to maintain his life. Such suitable planets do not necessarily have to be inhabited, but they must have potential energy that can support life. That is to say, as long as there is a potential for the birth of life on the planet, it will have life energy, and a planet with rich life energy will not necessarily cause the number of people on the entire planet to explode. It may also be the mass that explodes. The universe operates in order. Whether a planet can give birth to life is actually something that has been determined for a long time when the planet was born. Only planets rich in life energy can give birth to life on the planet, and at the same time, only planets with extremely rich life energy can give birth to the gods of the gods. Just like the Earth. The life energy is extremely rich, so inside the Earth, there is a god who has not yet awakened and is still gestating. This is the result of the Earth's life energy being extremely rich. Yes. A planet rich in life may not only give birth to a large number of ethnic groups, but more likely, It may give birth to a sleeping god who has not yet been born. Definitely. Not all planets rich in life can breed the Celestials, but they may also breed the top races in the universe. Each individual has a life level comparable to the Thanos Eternals. The specific situation still depends on the evolutionary trajectory of the planet. In extremely rare situations, it may be like the Earth, but there are sleeping gods inside the planet, giving birth to ordinary races. Although the individual strength is not strong, but from time to time there will be a few special individuals emerging. The evolutionary trajectories of planets in the universe are diverse. Some planets can come back to life completely, just like the situation with Star-Lord's father in Guardians of Galaxy. Live planet Ego. Its body is a living planet about the same file size as the Moon. The situation of live planet Ego. It should be regarded as a very special situation. Because he was killed by a bomb, many people felt that his self-proclaimed God was actually a kind of self-praising. How to say? This is not the case. Living planet Egg is indeed a god. In Guardians of Galaxy, when Ego first appeared on the scene, he easily destroyed a large number of sovereign spaceships that were chasing Star-Lord and others. This attack power was enough to be defined as god level. Although there are great gods who represent the rules of the universe in Marvel, they rarely appear. Beings who can easily defeat most of the technological civilizations of the universe can be called gods. Therefore, there's nothing wrong with Egg calling himself a god. The special power he used completely reached the standard of divine power. With a wave of his hand, Ego could wipe out the space fleet and defeat a civilization alone. However, living planet Ego will be tortured to death by Guardians of Galaxy. The reason? Even though planet Ego's body is not worthy of his strength. Ego's true body is a brain, and Ego's planet is just a shell wrapped around the brain. It was the true body of the brain that was blown to pieces before Ego died. Egg said that his original form was a brain floating in the universe. It took millions of years for Egg to slowly master the power to control the molecules around his body. Later, his strength is still gradually getting stronger, but Egg's true body has not changed, and his weak brain has not been strengthened at all. Living planet Ego has simply learned how to manipulate high-level energy. One can imagine. The development of planet GE is obviously very scientific. His power has indeed reached the level of a god, but his body is still in the realm of mortals. Just like those seemingly weak magicians, they have powerful power and can use magic that can destroy the world. But the body is still a mortal, level Godfather's Ancient One can be harmed by a dagger. This can probably be regarded as an embarrassment to planet Egg. He is a stunted god.